Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome along, Inspire and Be Inspired. Yours truly, Andy Ward. A joint broadcast this evening alongside our Soulful House Mafia channel. We got something rather special for you indeed. A lot of interest. A lot of people will be joining us, and feel free to please leave a comment. Let me know you're watching, and click a like, click a follow of the page, and you'll see on the graphics. All of those will be reflected as we're going along. I'll begin by saying that we're going to be deep in conversation. So I can see all of your comments. Good evening, Jeff. Good afternoon, Jeff. Happy Thanksgiving over there in sunny Orlando. Also to Pogwash. Greetings, my friend. So anybody watching live, feel free to comment. We will do our best to say hello to you at some point, but there's clearly going to be parts where we're deep in conversation. So forgive me if I don't get to you immediately. You can see from the graphic, Inspire and Be Inspired, Bobby from Bobby and Steve, a Soulful House Mafia special show. And without further ado, I would like to bring on my incredible guest, the man himself, Bobby. Good afternoon. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Good afternoon, Andy. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you for being here. Truly honoured. You are aware of what we're doing. So the Soulful House Mafia is another channel that I do every second Tuesday, where we discuss the birth of the UK Soulful House movement as it's known now. It went under many guises in the past, and there isn't anybody, I think, better placed to be able to shed light on where that name came from and the history of the sound every week without fail. Both myself, Lee Wright, Mark Wilkinson and Craig Bartlett, we always discuss some of the incredible events that we've been to, we've played at, and without a shadow of a doubt, yours and Stevie's name always come up. Very humble guys. I don't know how comfortable it would sit with you to be referred to as the undoubted heads of the UK Soulful House Mafia. How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel good.
Good.
Like you said, we're very humble guys. Do you know what I mean? So a title is just a title, really, isn't it? The proof is always in the pudding, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
But if somebody wants to give you a lovely title,
Take
all
it.
day long, man. Take it, yes.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'm not ashamed to say I feel kind of daunted in your presence, because you are no stranger to being the man in the hot seat, so to speak, interviewing others, getting the lowdown.
You included.
Me included, most definitely. So I'm going to ask a quick question first of all. Do you ever feel that you have told the Bobby and Steve story? Is there a video? Is there an interview that you've ever done down the years where you feel that the story has been told to its fullest?
No.
Fantastic.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, if I am able to create that this evening, then that will be a dream come true for me. So
yeah. I think I'd like to say this. I think you're gonna get a lot more than a lot of people have got before, because I think we're going to talk for an hour, 2 hours, or whatever. See how it goes. But obviously, our career stands from 1984 to date. So, and there's a lot, because as people find out, we're not just DJs. We've done everything from day one.
exactly.
So there's a lot. So, and then
we will have to skip over some parts, and I'll say from the beginning to everybody again, many people bleeding through. Please, guys, do continue to leave your messages there, because we probably won't be able to address them now, but Bobby will come back and read them all to the recording, and I'm sure he will comment and get back to you all, and I will be coming and reading some of the comments. So, my friend, tell us where you feel it begins for you on your journey.
So I'm just sorting something out on my phone here.
No, you take your time. I want you to be as comfortable as possible.
Just to let everyone know as well, I was late for this. I've just actually run into my house. So I'm still settling down and getting my bits and pieces round together with me. And also I'm based in our kitchen. So some of my children might be popping in and getting a drink or whatever, right? But that's how it is. It's real and it's live, right? So you wanted me to start from how it all began.
Yeah. Where you feel is a pivotal moment where you think, you know what, this is definitely a pinpoint for my story, our story to begin.
Yeah, well, me and Steve's. I want to talk about our family first. So we're me. There's 8 children. Okay, from East London, Forest Gate. Me and Steve have 3 older siblings, 2 sisters and 1 brother. We're all musical family in terms of loving music, not musical instrument per se, but just loving music. So me and Steve, we got our musical education, I would say, from my sister Sonia, who still comes out to our parties now and again now. She used to be one of the dancers at the late, great Paul Anderson's clubs and back in the day. Do you know what I mean? When me and Steve wasn't really going out. But she was into soul and a bit of reggae and that. So we started off with a bit of reggae back in the early 70s, and then we was into soul from the old Motown and all that kind of stuff, right? But we was guided by her and the Greg Edwards bathroom call on a Saturday. And I'm talking about the 70s now, you know, the mid 70s. Me and Steve was 58 last week, Thursday, the 18th of November. So we're 58 years old. And when we was at school, it was a secondary school from 1975. We was around a lot of group of friends, and we all had this reggae influence and a bit of soul influence, and then the sound system days we're in. So our musical beginnings was a lot of that, but then some disco and all that early disco stuff from my sister we used to just listen to it. Never used to run around it, just listen to it. And then we left school in 1980, and we was both working, 16 years old. And now we from Forest Gate, East London, and our local pub that everyone, all the boys, our firm used to gather around was called Simpsons in Forest Gate. So we was going out clubbing from 1978 when we was 14, do you know what I mean? Before we left school, we was going out with the big boys clubbing and all that, going to the West End to Crackers on a Friday lunchtime, listening to Paul Anderson, right? Bunking school on a Friday afternoon. That was Bobby and Steve. We was like 2 feet tall. We was getting into the club. We was with the big boys. We used to walk in and get in our tiptoes past the cashier at the top. But that was our first sort of disco, sort of boogie, sort of introduction to that thing. And then what happened was we left school. The pub we used to go to, Derek Boland. We used to go to the pub all the time. And Derek Boland, God rest his soul, he was playing at Bentley's down in Canning Town, which was a big spot in East London. And we'd never DJed before, but we used to go out. We knew who a DJ was. We wasn't naive. We knew what was what. Never DJ, but we was buying records, but DJing wasn't in our plan. So then the pub got refurbished. So we said to Jim on a Friday night, we was at the bar, me, Steve, and another friend of ours from school called Michael Jones. We said, Jim, you need to get a DJ in here. You're wasting this place. All of the booze, all this money on this place. You're wasting, you know, this is a waste. And he looked at us. He said, why don't you guys do it? 15 seconds later, we looked at each other. We said, yeah, let's do it. Just like that. Just like, honestly, very confident young chaps. We just said, yeah, let's do it. Never DJed before, ever. Never promoted, ever. So that was on a Friday night. We went, so this was like pre-drinks, what they call now. So we was at the bar. So we went, it was like pre-drinks back in 84. Went to Bentley's, Saturday morning, we woke up, hangover, and we thought, shit, we've made a commitment to do this, to this club. So we got A4 bit of paper. We wrote on it, right, about Simpsons. We made 6 flyers out of it. Went around the street, photocopied them all, and gave them out to people. That's what happened in 1984. And then we said, here's an interesting bit as well. We said, when we was doing that, I said to Steve, what are we going to call ourselves? Now, this is 1984. If we go back to about 1978, right, 6 years prior to that, we was at school still. We went to see a film called Thank God It's Friday, which was the late Donna Summer. It was her first debut appearance in there. And the film was based around this club called Zoo. Okay. It was a disco film called, we saw it when we was at school. And then when we left the theatre, when we left the pictures, we said to each other, me and Steve, if ever we get a club, we're going to call ourselves Zoo. We didn't club what? This was all before anything came to mind about music and anything. So Steve said, well, do you remember when we made that promise? This is no word of a lie. I said, what? He goes, the club, thank God it's Friday, Zoo. So we called ourselves Zoo Soul Beat. Gave out the flyers. We had 7 days to promote. On the Friday night, the place holds 250 people. The place was packed. We hired a white Seatronic mixer and turntables, white speaker boxes. It looked the bollocks. You know what I mean? It was top-notch stuff. We was playing all like just soul and go-go music. Not really disco, a little bit of disco, but just some soul, you know, just your Luthers, your Alexander O'Neills. Do you know what I mean? Some go-go music and some other cool stuff, some cool early rap stuff. No mixing, just playing the music. So me, Steve, and Michael James are behind the turntables. And I said to Steve, because we was big in the manor, we had a big family, we knew everyone in the area. So I said, Steve, you've got to get out there, go and be a host, go and talk to everyone. So Steve went out there. Then as the weeks went on, I just became the DJ. Me and Michael James. And Michael James left. So I became the DJ because Steve was DJing the first night. And that was it. So, and that's where we are today. So from that night, we became DJs and promoters without even knowing what we was doing.
So that's how the dynamics of you being the hands-on and Stevie being the face, so to speak.
Yeah. That's right. And that's just how. And the journey just it hasn't stopped. Yeah,
so take us back to that original crowd. You say it was packed out. Was it all people you knew, or a majority of people you knew, and then other people who heard the buzz?
There might have been some interest of people. Like it was Forest Gate. We're Forest Gate, born and bred. Do you know what I mean? It's like we knew a lot of everyone in the area. Do you know what I mean? A lot of school people were there, and we knew. Obviously, there might have been some other people who just come in or whatever, but. No, there was no one going there. The place was empty on a Friday. Do you know what I mean? And that was it. So, and it wasn't even like we said, wow, we're promoters and we're DJs now. It was nothing like that. We was earning money. We had full-time jobs. You know what I mean? I was a gas engineer for British Gas. And Steve was in retail. Do you know what I mean? A high level doing that. It wasn't even a money thing. We just done it for the fun because Jim said do it. We said, all right, we'll do it. And that's what happened. But,
so early 20s, young lads in the early 20s, 2021, right?
Yeah, well, let's go at 16. This was 84, so 20, 21, yeah. Yeah, just but what you see now is how we was then. Yeah. Maybe not knowing the knowledge, but I wouldn't even say the confidence. We've always been great believers in life. It's like anything is achievable, as our beautiful mum would say, you know. Just have the faith and believe in yourself. It's not a cockiness. It's not nothing like that. Because as you said in the beginning, we're humble people and we are. But if someone says, my wife sort of hates me for it, because I always say, I could do that. She goes, you're a bit of a show off. It's not. It's just, if I feel I can do it, then you've got to believe in yourself, man. You don't let, you know.
It's an incredible trait to have. And as the conversation progresses, we'll unearth how your positivity and your energy has been infectious, and it's been so. And you've been responsible for so many other things down the years. I'm going to say on many times, and I'm sure everybody watching will agree, it's very difficult to find anybody that could have a bad word to say about you guys, you know, and the aura around you as well. So got to give you the utmost respect for that. And you mentioned your late great mother, of course, God rest her soul. Responsible, the person responsible for that, right?
Yeah. No, definitely, because you know we are. Everyone who, you know, we live and we learn, and you know, it's teaching, isn't it? Everything is about teaching, and sometimes without us knowing as a young age what our parents, if you're, I wouldn't say lucky enough, well, yeah, if you're granted to have a parent, our parents got divorced when we was 10 years old. Do you know what I mean? So my mum brought 8 of us up. My dad was still around, but not on the parental side of it. Do you know what I mean? So. It's not impossible, man. You know, these old school parents are anywhere. They've got the strength and they've got the knowledge. And as we're young, we don't realize that till we get older and we've actually inherited some of their knowledge. And okay, I understand it now. You know, the light bulb moment always comes up, man. And yeah, so that's how me and Steve got into the music business like that. And it just went 5th gear, all the way outside lane. From there, it's like, in them days, it was sound systems. So you had us from Forest Gate, Zoo Soul Beat. You had Funkadelic from East London as well. And them days, for people who don't know, you'd make your own sound system. From there, we went into the blues party era, you know, the house parties, the warehouse parties. And you had Trevor Nelson, who was from Hackney, who had the Mad Hatter sound system. So they didn't know us and we didn't know them, but because we was big, we just came up like that in East London. They all came down to Simpsons. Jazzy
Okay.
Beats, Soul to Soul came down there. Soul to Soul had a night there at Simpsons on a Sunday because of what we brought there, because it became a popular spot. We had people
Okay.
from West London all coming down. Yeah, that's how big the place was.
So let me
And
ask you a question then. Did it ever get, at any point, for a short period of time, did it ever get a little tasty? Was there ever any kind of conflict with different, different
with
areas?
other people. No, it wasn't, because I think in them days, for the love of the music and everything else, what was going on, and it wasn't a full-time thing for us. It did become full-time for a lot of other people straight after that, because on the grounds of what we built up there at Simpsons, Gordon Mack came down, right? Because them days it was like you didn't have social media and all that. It was like the word got round, Zoo Soulbeat, Bobby and Steve, da, 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 da. So he was doing his scouting, went around to see what was going on, and he invited us on to Kiss FM when
Okay.
there was Pirates. But them days there wasn't a lot. Well, we didn't have a lot of trouble and that, but again, we don't. The word trouble is what it is, right? Because we're East London, man. We know
Nothing you couldn't handle.
the trouble comes and the trouble comes. It is what it is. It's like, so that wasn't even that. You deal with things as they come. So that's. But Gordon Mack came down. He invited us on to Kiss FM when they was Pirates. Never done radio before. Of course, we said yes. And we was doing the early, because we was new. The new ones had to do the early morning, turn on the bloody thingy bobs, turn on the station and stuff. So we got on the station, and I just loved it. We loved it. It was just another natural thing. There was no rehearsing. I just thought, okay, how are we going to do this? But we've always been very astute, very everything has to be done in a good professional level, you know? It's not like you have to, but it just became a natural thing for us, so we loved it. In the first year of us being on Kiss FM, we won the best newcomer show, right? With our little trophies, I don't know. I think a lot of people were surprised at that because we had just joined, right? And you've got all these other people who've been there for, I think Kiss was on for 6-7 months before we started or whatever, and we was the last ones on there kind of thing, and we won the newcomer.
Right.
So, but you had everyone was on there, you know, Norman, everything else, all people that we was looking up to. So we got on Kiss FM, and then the radio thing just took off hand in hand with our promoting thing, with our DJing and stuff. We're still in full-time work. And then you had the warehouse scene coming in. Do you know what I mean? And where we was in Forest Gate, we had our crew. It was me, Steve, Dapo, he's a good friend of ours. He was the electrician. And a few of the other boys was in there as well, Stuart Ostry, people like that. And them days we would go, and we had a couple of girls that was working with us as well, friends. And them days you could go to an estate agent and say, can I go and view this house? And there was a good trust. So they would give you the key. They'd give you the key to go and view this brand new refurbished 3-story house, right? Because we wanted 3 floors, so we can get
the naivety of it all.
So, and again, we just thought we can do this. And I swear to God, it must have been 2 years. We had a 2-year run, maybe a bit longer than that. We had police come to our parties. Them days, the neighbours, and even they didn't used to make a lot of noise. We maybe had 2 policemen come in all of our parties. I said, do you own this property? We'd send a nice, pleasant young lady to the door. Yes, we own this property. Party's packed, you know. Party's packed, 3 floors of people, wires coming outside. You always set up in the middle floor, so you get the wires going up to the top and to the bottom outside for the speakers, right? They'd always be by the window. So easy to wire up, etc. And yeah, and they would just go. Never had any trouble. And it was like that. And then in Forest Gate, we wouldn't come out of our area. We were just staying in East London, basically, yeah. In East London, Forest Gate, Plaistow, Upton Park. But then where we was in Forest Gate, there was a clothes shop. And the back of it, the place is called Uppercut. There was a big warehouse called Uppercut, a big club thing called Uppercut. But there was a shop in front of it, and they had a big warehouse there. And it closed down. It was a really, I can't even remember the name of it. Was it Gardeners? And a friend of mine said, there's a warehouse there. Why don't we try and get in there? We broke into the warehouse. Oh, well, this is a good spot. Right on the main road. Cleaned out the gaff, like decorated it all out. And that was our place for about 7-8 months. We had Norman J come down there after his thingy bob doing party, Rap-a-tat. But that was our little warehouse, our spot that we had illegally again. But it was just good and exciting times. Do you know what I mean? So that was all the build up for all that. And then in 1987, we got really good friends with Norman J through Kiss FM and just through the musical taste and that. Obviously, you know, he was just our hero. He still is for me and Steve. Very fundamental in what I'm going to say now and why we became house DJs as well. So Norman was going to New York, where the Miami Music Conference, where he was based in the music conference. American one was based in New York. So in 1987, he said he's going to play at the conference. We'd never been to America, and he said he's going to take about 30 people with him. Like, we had to pay for our own flights. It wasn't like he's paying, but he will take up to 30 people. So me and Steve said, okay, let's go. So we did. We went. He said on his night off, his cousin is sorted out for all of us to get into this club. And the club is called the Paradise Garage. Never heard of the Paradise Garage. So, and then he said the DJ's called Larry Levan. Never heard of Larry Levan. This is 1987, right? I'm just telling you as it is.
Yeah.
Me and Steve are little disco babies anyway. We're disco queens by heart, right? We just love all that. So we've gone to this club, and it was Norman J. He was called Shaking Finger Pop back then, and Judge Jules was Family Function. So Jules was there as well with a lot of his boys, Marco and all them. Femi was there, who was with us. His brother Tunji. And we went to the Paradise Garage. And then I thought, and this is, you hear a lot of stories, people say this and that, but this is our truth. When we went to that club, we just thought, what the fuck? Because we'd never experienced anything like that. And the music, and then the environment, and there was no, we're drinkers, there was no alcohol, but there was these big punch bowls that were sort of free, and you just, I believe they were spiked or whatever.
Right.
So you just drink that. And we had the best time at that club.
Well, it's funny because only last night, Norman was telling his story again to Mark Wilkinson. I've heard Norman's story before when he was talking to Lenny Fontana, but I heard it again last night, and he told about these same times. You were talking about the parties in the house, in the 3-story house, sending the young girl to the front door, and he was telling the story last night about it was always good having Judge Jules by his side because he would always send Jules off to talk to the police, you know. But I didn't want to interrupt you while you were talking. Yeah. So yeah, the stories run parallel. So it's very it's very enlightening. When were you not shocked, but was it a different environment and atmosphere? Tell us, if you can, about what it was like at Paradise Garage to make you stop in your tracks.
Well, Paradise Garage, which was 1987. So me and Steve's first, my sister was a dancer. One of the boogie dancers, right, Sonia. So we knew about all the boogie dancing. Now, you know, we grew up in the 70s at school, and we was going to little youth clubs, and it was all about dancing. You know, these days it's not, but it was about competition and dancing and busted moves back then. So, but we'd gone to Crackers, a lot of the boogie clubs and that we was going to here was 200-300 capacities. So the first thing was the size of this place. You'd walk into an underground car park sort of thing, the entrance, and it's just the environment and the size of it and the sound system, everything was just amplified to what we was used to.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
So even coming from sound system roots, it was that next level up.
Yeah, because me and Steve, you know, we used to go out all the time and everything else, but I suppose a lot of the big commercial things that was happening here, commercial soul-y sort of things, we wasn't really going into them kind of things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you'd have 1,000, 2,000 fee bobs. We wasn't, and even like the weekenders, your cases and all that, we wasn't into all that back then. Do you know what I mean? We was more on the street side of what was going on, the underground side.
Yeah.
So going into this club, it was like everything from the environment, from the way it was, and it was even though they say it was a gay night and whatever, it didn't feel it was even blessed to be that, because it was more flamboyant dancing going on. There was everything. It's like we just loved this. Everything was just linking in, the music, everything. We was just in our element, man, and we just thought, look at this. And then after that, there was a record shop called Vinylmania, and everyone, not everyone, but the DJs and stuff, because it was the music conference as well, would go to Vinylmania to buy the records. And that's where we bought our first records. Ralph Izzo used to hold me. That's where we followed the people around to the record shop, and we bought our first 3 records for house records. Do you know what I mean? And we brought them back. And that was our introduction to our soulful house, our house. Do you know what I mean? That was it. Mm-hmm. And for us, what a better introduction to it, and the schooling. Do you know what I mean? Being listening to Larry Levan at the Paradise Garage, and you know what I mean, not even knowing what was going on.
Yeah. Well, one thing that has always astounded me, and I don't want to go into it too much, but I'll make the observation, is how short a period of time it really was between the end of the disco era, so to speak, and then the birth of the house. It was only relatively a very short space of time, and then you roll over to the acid house era as well. You know, you know how fast time goes now, right?
Yeah, that's right. But everything was meant to be, right? Because disco is disco. And that's why we love the house, the soulful house thing, me and Steve, because we was disco queens at heart anyway. We love all that stuff, man. And it's 4 to the floor, and it's 118, 120, 140, 116, whatever BPM. And it was just, you know, we give thanks for the Chicago boys, the New York boys, whatever, for
laying the
doing
path.
That.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. for coming up with that. But it had, I mean, it obviously was a natural progression for music, right? Because disco and that were the same thing, and it was just another transition of that, but not taking nothing away. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to talk about trance and acid and everything else, yeah, it's all good. But it won't be in 100 years' time.
No.
Soulful House will be, because it's real music. And I don't mean, I'm not dissing, I'm just saying, the natural progression for soul music, chords, it's just real, you know, and it hits people. There's people like yourself, you know, who might have got a bit older now. When we was younger, when we was coming up there, people like, you know, Judge Hills and people like that. There was a lot of us in that clip. We was all like on the Rare Groove thing with Norman J, because Norman J was the daddy for that, right? And also Des Parks, who gave a lot of our music. Big shout out to Des. I was talking to him today. You know, all that old school lot who introduced us as well to. We knew a lot of Rare Groove, but there's a lot of Rare Groove that a lot of people don't know. Even now, you can always dig and find stuff that no one knows. But it's all real music, and for us, you cannot beat strings and pretty things and horns and that. It's just real.
It's a music built on raw emotions, isn't it? Basically,
exactly. It's real, man. That's what it's hitting. So all these other spin-offs from house music. Take no chances. It's all lovely. It's all wicked. It's all good. It's not for me. It's not for us. It's not for me and Steve. And that's why we're still in the game, I think, because we've stuck to what we believed in. We didn't need to jump somewhere else to go and get more money, because we didn't start this for money.
Yeah.
We started for the love. And that is the truth. It's not just a cliche talk. We started it. Wow, we can do this. And we loved it.
Is that what you thought? Stood in the Paradise Garage, you thought, wow, you know what? When we got some work to do when we get back. We need to emulate this.
Think about that. No, because this was 1987, right? Me and Steve were still working. We still had our full-time jobs. We gave up our full-time jobs in 1990 when Kiss FM came on. So again, we wasn't relying on the music thing. We was earning money on the side doing the thing, but we was earning good money from our full-time jobs, right? Do you know what I mean? So this 1987, we go back from New York for 1987, had the house records, more house records were being made, we're buying more house music. So we had to introduce that to our club now. My son's just come home, that's right. So we had to introduce that to our people now. So, and we're still playing boogie, right? We're still playing boogie and disco. So this is 1987, 1988 now. We started we got our first West End club, which was Monkberry's in Swallow Street, Piccadilly, right? Wicked spot. If that spot was here now, it was like a classic disco floor. It's like a VIP thing, you would say, but it wasn't. It was borderline. Held about what? 250 people. And we managed to get this spot, and we done it on a Wednesday night. Wednesday night we done it, right? From 9 o'clock till 2 in the morning. Place used to be packed every week. We had Paul Anderson. It was me, Steve, Paul Anderson, Colin Dell, right? Because people don't know, Colin playing the music is played now, the housey stuff, this now. He was a boogie boy, man, right? Yeah. Right, Colin Dell, Fabio from Fabio and Groove Rider. He was a resident as well. Shola, who plays percussion for Jamiroquai. There was like 6 of us every night playing all this music. And that's where we started. We was doing all that, and then that was 87, that was 1988, and then in the same year, a year after, in 88 is when we got the first Club Zoo in the West End. And then in that same year, we decided to start a record label. So we called it Zoo Experience Records.
Okay.
And massive Leroy Burgess fans from day one. So it was me, Steve, Stuart Ostry, Peter Remy, our ex-brother-in-law, Lloyd. It's 5 of us. We started this label. We got offices down Commercial Road in East London. Didn't really know what we was doing, but we knew that we wanted to sign Leroy Burgess. Again, because we was fans and everything else. So we did. We got Leroy to do a 5-track EP for us in 1988.
That was the one I found him in the collection. Do you remember me sending you the photo saying, "What's this?"
Yeah. He was called LB&T, ELB&T, EL for Leroy and B for Burgess, and T. T was Tyrone Williams from Orange Juice Jones. He used to be the singer in Orange Juice Jones. Tyrone did. So he was Leroy's protege. So they done cover versions like Rick James' Big Time, because Leroy, Sonny Lee Davenport and James Calloway, they wrote Rick James's Big Time record, right? So we thought, why don't we get Leroy to do the ones that he didn't sing, like Big Time, Over Like a Fat Rat. He'd done a version of that. He'd done a couple of new ones of us. And we got him to do another version as well of Barely Breaking Even. And we got him over here to do a little tour. And we done, one of the big parties we done was the Astoria Theatre, which is right at Tottenham Court Road, which is not there no more. It's been knocked down. We done a big promotion there. And then we done a boat party as well in 1988. It was on the 20th of August, 1988, which is our mother's birthday, and it's Leroy's birthday as well. And that was the beginning of a great friendship for us up to date now, 30 odd years later, we're still friends. That boat trip was one of the best things we've ever done, all right? It was, it started, them days you could have the boat from 12 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning. So we started at midnight, and party was packed. The end, Leroy and Tyrone done a PA, and at the end of it, we're back on the embankment, and in the embankment now we've docked, and Paul Anderson's playing the last record, and he's played Film Houston Saturday night, Sunday morning. Everyone's off the back, standing on the pier, singing. And it's moments like that, we thought, what the fuck, look at this. And I was standing there thinking, look at this, man. And I'd never really heard that record before. Saturday night, we shine on my Sunday morning. We're all there singing it, but as it went on, we're singing. Paul gave me his record with it. He had signed it for some reason, and I've still got that record now. So it's all moments like that as we've gone on, and then all that kind of music there, Saturday night, Sunday morning, just led me and Steve play house music even more. Go into house, it's 1988, play that disco, then we was mixing that kind of BPM with our house. We started bringing our house music into that kind of BPM. Mm-hmm. And when we started doing that at the beginning of some of our clubs, people wouldn't dance. We was playing house music because they wanted boogie. So it was challenging times for us, but we stuck to it because we believed in it. Do you know what I mean? And were
there other clubs at the time who were thriving on playing, who were succeeding in getting house across to different crowds? Down in London,
in the Soulful House thing. In the 80s,
because Norman was saying last night that everywhere outside of London adapted to house a lot quicker than London did. People were pretty much hesitant, really, to embrace it.
We had, because the thing about London, we had all the boogie boys, we had all the best dancers, right? Mm-hmm. But back in the 70s, it was a thing, and everyone was in the boogie thing, and everyone was into, even like your Leroy Burgess stuff. We was all into that, and even though house was cool, we don't want that. We've got good music. We don't need that. So there was, I suppose, some resistance. Well, there was heavier resistance to all that. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of other clubs playing stuff, to be quite honest, I'm sure there was, but me and Steve have always just kept focused on what we're doing.
Your own thing. So you never travelled much outside of London. You wouldn't have been into the old Djs scene, coach parties, up and down the country.
Not really, then, because we was concentrating what we was doing here, and then Kiss FM obviously got their license in 1990, and that's when we left our jobs. Mm-hmm. And then we started doing our night, Club Zoo, the same night as Kiss came on. We had a Friday night show, and we gave up our jobs that week. And
Well, explain the dynamics of that then, without being too personal. How did that work? So you were both basically getting a fee and splitting the fee between you both, but even though you were the one doing all the work
in the music, in the DJ, in the promoting.
Yeah.
50-50 all day long. I'm not better than Steve because I was behind the deck. Steve could have been behind the decks, and I could have been doing the promoting.
Mm-hmm. So this is all your own parties by this stage, of course. So I guess it's your money. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just our party. So we're just, everything's 50-50.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful to hear.
There's no, no. Everything was 50-50. There were rules, like don't come behind the decks when I'm playing now. There was rules. Everything was fine. Steve was great at what he does. Steve is still great at what he does. What we've built up. It wouldn't have worked without him doing what he's doing and me doing what I'm doing. Was doing.
Let me just interject 1 second. I've got my phone here that's working as a little app to control everything. I can see Colin Williams has just tried to send me a WhatsApp. Colin, if there's an issue, send me a comment here, bro, so I can see it in the chat. We've got loads of people watching, Bob, loads of people commenting, too many for me to mention. I did see Julie in here earlier. I would like to say hello, good evening, thank you for being here. Shout out to Rupert as well. So okay, back to you. So you're talking about 89, 90, the birth of Kiss FM going legal. Take it away, continue, sorry.
Kiss came on, we won the license after being off for about a year or whatever. We won the license, and from that day then, Steve said, right, that's it, we can do this full time now, because we already secured a club called the Soho Theatre in Tottenham Court Road. Behind the Astoria Theatre, actually, it was where we had Leroy in 88. There was a club there called the Soho Theatre, which held, I don't know, 300 people, 350. Wicked little underground spot, right in the heart of bloody Soho. And we got that on a Friday night, right? It's 1990. And that run for about 2 years, maybe 2 years, I think it ran from there, packed every single Friday night. But we was mainly playing soul and stuff, right? Soul music and some disco. Then we was introducing the house a bit more there. And that's when people were sort of stopping thinking, what's this? Carried on doing it. But we had everyone come down and play with us. We had a diva come down, Billy Griffin, all these kind of people, Hold Me Tighter in the Rain. It was just amazing. We had like Simon Dunmore. This is 1990. Like Simon Dunmore, Bob Masters, all these guys would come down to the club and that because it was the spot. Do you know what I mean? It was the spot, and it was in town 10 till 6 in the morning, and it'd be packed every single week. So that's where, towards the end of that, is when we started playing a lot more house, because in 1991, Steve said, let's do a house night, because Club Zoo is more of a disco boogie and a sprinkle of house music that we just sort of started putting on the people. And said, let's do a house night. Let's call it Gerard City. So we went to Kiss FM because Kiss FM wanted to do a club. They wanted to get involved in the club circuit. And Steve, being a quick thinker as he is, he said, we get Kiss involved, we can get a gub night, get all the promotion, we can build this thingy, Bob. So now we're planning big, you know what I mean? Just left our jobs and it just worked. We've got a club called Joe's Nightclub around the side of Selfridges off Oxford Street. That held about 250 again. From the first night, it was just ram. It just blew everyone away. The crowd was going round the corner, and we get around. It was only a small club, but whatever. As much as we had in, we had outside waiting to come in.
So who was on the lineup that night?
For my memory, we were just basically a lot of the UK. Frankie Fonsett, we had just CJ McIntosh, your Ricky Morrison's, Chrissy T. Everyone who was big really in category of records. Abby used to play down there with us. Jeremy Newell. Do you know what I mean? It was just a lot of the UK things, and that ran for about a year. And then we went from that 250 capacity club to 2000. We moved to the Podium nightclub, which is in Vauxhall. It's now been knocked down to a 2000 capacity, and again, ran right. So it just went from that to that, but that was major. I mean, Podium was there for maybe a couple of years, I think. But everyone passed through there. Roger Sanchez, I'm talking about, came over, who we got to DJ. Danny Tenaglia, Derek Carter used to come and play a lot for us down there. It was just amazing. The first time everyone saw 10 City live on stage. Do you know what I mean? We had 10 City down there. When
So
they
tell us about your networking skills then, because it feels that we've jumped into that. Because somewhere down the line, you became these people who could just talk to Danny Tenaglia, who could just talk to Derek Carter on the phone. How did those relationships flourish? Was it through going backwards and forwards to the States more and more, or people
No,
coming
because we
to
didn't
you?
really go back to the States in that long. I think it was because of the birth of Garage City.
Okay.
Because there was no, well, if there was other house nights, you know, there was maybe running alongside, but yeah, there was house nights going. But what we brought was just on a big scale. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we had Joe's nightclub, and it was a lot of the residents when we started in the 250 thing. It was just a UK based thing. But when we went to the bigger club, we thought, okay, we need to get some, you know, some bigger boys in. So they knew it was a big club. They wanted to come and play it. They was calling us rather than us calling them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And that's where the network started. Because who didn't want to come and play at Grand City at the podium with all that crowd? It was, come on, man. Do you know what I mean? It was just amazing. It really was.
So remind me, where was the podium in relation to the Coliseum, or is it the same? It's not the same venue.
It's the same club, yeah. So
it is the same venue, right?
Yeah, podium, and then it was the podium before it was Coliseum, because we used to go there back in the 80s.
Right.
Me and Steve, two-step raves and all that. When we was into our little two-step thing. Yeah, so it was the podium, and it was called the Coliseum.
Okay, right, okay.
Yeah, but that again, you know, everyone.
Chrissy did tell me that, but it's my battered brain forgets a lot of things.
Yeah.
So 2,000 people, man, incredible. Did you ever feel that you were out of your depth?
No, because the beautiful thing about that, when it did when numbers did die down again, I was speaking to Rupert Stay actually, and he said this, and I thought, yeah, you're right. Because when there was some nights we thought, okay, we're going to get 1,500 or 1,000. We would move the DJ booth to the other side, put a curtain across there, and make it more intimate. Even though we had 1,000, we'd still be, you know, and then we'd open it up again for the big nights. But we didn't feel it was out of our depth, because it was new and it was exciting for us and for everyone else who was coming. There was nothing like it. Do you know what I mean? You had other nights going on. Danny Rampling was doing his shub nights and all that, different genre of music, but on that level for Soulful House. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing like it in London. Do you know what I mean? No, Norman was doing his High and Hope night, Dan Dingle's, which we used to go to every week, and everything else. But on the scale that we was doing that, and I think a lot of it's because we had the backing of Kiss FM. We had the adverts out there. Do you know what I mean? Because it was a 50-50 partnership with Kiss. But we was running everything. Do you know what I mean? It was our ideas with them as well, because they was new into the promoting club circuit. So yeah, it was just amazing, and we wasn't out of our depth at all. And then, you know, things started dying down a little bit. And we thought, okay, it's time to move. So we moved from there to Barumba, which you know very well. We moved to Barumba, which is on Shaftesbury Avenue. I don't even know what the capacity of that was. What, 500 people, 600 people?
It's about 30 people, wasn't it?
Well, it was the whole club. You'd get that amount of people in there. I could show you by the receipt tills, mate.
Unbelievable. So again, we have covered this talking to Rupert and talking to Chrissy. Remind me of the date when that opened then, Shaftesbury Avenue, Barumba.
I believe it was about 1984. 984, 85.
No, sorry, when 84? 94. Okay, and were there other successful nights? Because I know eventually there were other big nights there as well. Were they running side by side, or were you in there first and other people came after you were there?
I can't remember. And I think we was the first ones to do that. I think on a Monday night, because even Giles Peterson used to do a jazz thing on a Monday.
Yeah.
But we was Barumba. If you mentioned Barumba, you would say Garage City.
Of course.
If anyone would mention, Garage City put Barumba on the map, and then other things started happening. Yeah. And that was a sort of pattern that me and Steve brought to London, basically. We would touch something and then he would, do you know what I mean? But hey ho. But that was amazing. And the beautiful thing about Barumba was just because our music is uplifting, it's heartfelt, it's joyous, it's everything to do with beauty, right? And love. And the amount of people that used to come down to that club who we didn't know, and just they would come and introduce themselves, Just say, I've come down by myself, and I can't believe the amount of people I've met tonight. You could come there by yourself, not know anyone, and just leave with so many friends that you've seen. And it was just a hub for everyone to meet every week. And everyone used to say this. I mean, I've been married for 40 years now, but I can still look. It was full with beautiful women as well, which was always a bonus, because we was playing the music that the women liked. Do you know what I mean? And it attracts the men and da 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 da. But it was just, everything was just hand in hand with that club. You know, we had everyone who was everyone again would come and play down there. You used to come and play down there for a lot for us. You used to smash it down there.
Yeah, regular
Yeah,
monthly gigs. I'm very, very honoured to do that, and it was one of my favourite places to come and play, which will lead me on to a comment regarding the crowd. So your crowd, your family, followed you religiously everywhere you went, and that was the fuel really for the success of your parties.
Yeah, and that definitely was it from day one. From Simpsons, there's people who still come to our parties now, right? From day one, not religiously every week throughout the whole 30 odd years we've been doing it, but they still come because they know what they're going to get, and they know no matter how old they are now, in their 50s, mid 50s, or whatever, they're still getting that same excitement that we got from day one. They've been on that journey with us. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, we only speak from experience. The amount of people that, like I said, who still come up to us now and say, "This is my wife. We've been together for 30 years. We met at your club. We've got kids now. We're 20." The amount of people that come and say it, and they thank us for that. And it's like, you don't have to thank us because we're just doing what we're doing. But we're really happy that you've got the amount of families, the births that's happened. Barry White, people say about his music. Well,
they got nothing on you.
Together. We bring the marriage, Barry White brings the babies, and that's it.
Right, okay. That's a t-shirt if ever I've seen one.
and that's it really. And it's, you listen, when me and Steve are just, I'm not going to put us down, because as you get older, you look at yourself, and I look at myself more and think, do you know what? I'm not a bad guy. We're good guys, and before we will say it out loud now and say, yeah, we're good. But we won't say, yeah, we done this. We're not like that. We done this, we done that. Da, da, da. It's not about that for us. Do you know what I mean?
Not at all.
People can just see the realness in us. We're not here to sell anything in terms of our persona and everything else. What you see is what you get. And we're just thankful for the Lord that we've got this persona. And we're just, two good guys who just, Steve said to me, I think, and my mum said it as well, used to have been put on this earth to bring people together, right? We never asked people for anything in terms of, I've given you this, you got a gig for me. What is swapsies? Give me this, give me that. It was never really, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, let me say then regarding myself, for example, coming and playing at Garage City alongside many of the other regional DJs up and down the UK. You were very welcoming in inviting people to enjoy the success of the parties, based purely on the talent and the skills of the DJs that came along. And you were always happy to share the success and share the love with others. And I think when you are that influential and that caring, everybody wants you to succeed, because they know if you do good, they're going to do good. And that's one of the things that so many people must have taken from the example that you guys have given to the whole of the UK. As I said at the very beginning, there isn't anybody that could ever talk about Soulful House in the UK without mentioning you in the same breath. It's a great responsibility to have. Did you ever have any dark days when you were doing it? Has it all been like total highs along the way?
Days in terms of what, like a party not going right, or
well, difficult parties, a marketing move that didn't quite go to plan, because you enjoyed several seasons over in Ibiza that were amazing. We haven't even started talking about your parties on the beach in Miami. How did that all begin? How did that come about?
Yeah, in terms of the dark days, I mean, business is business. Business is going to go up, business is going to go down, but our business never went down. If we saw a club, one of our club nights going down, I mean, our club nights would never just be on for a month and fail. It was always like, if we went there, we moved because we outgrew ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Towards the end of it all, with Bar Rumba, we got more international gigs and and then people were moving on to this. So that's why Garage City stopped at Bar Rumba, but it had run its course. Everything runs its course, right?
I
Do you
was
know what I
actually
mean?
really surprised when I spoke to Rupert and he reminded me that Bar Rumba was running at the side by side with Soul Heaven. I thought Bar Rumba
Yeah,
finished and then
for
Soul
about a
Heaven
year,
began.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy how I forgot that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so did you, because, when there's partnerships involved and everything like that, many people making decisions, were you very much involved with the decision making for Soul Heaven?
Yeah, Soul Heaven. I mean, it was me, Steve, and Ollie White.
But call him Oliver.
I'll call him Ollie White. Yeah, we was at Ministry one. I forget what party we was at, and then Ollie said, that record was on Soul Heaven. I forget who was playing it. Soul Heaven, and we was there, and Ollie said, "Why don't we start a night at Ministry?" We was in the box at Ministry. That's when it was the other side, where the booth is now. As you go into the main room, it's in front of you. It was the other side. And then we said, yeah, and Ollie said, I'll have a word with Thingy Bob. We knew them all there anyway, because me and Steve's been playing at Ministry since the doors opened in 1990 or whatever. And Ollie said, I'll speak to Thing, see what came. And they was up for it. And he said, we call it Soul Heaven, and that was that. So we gained this partnership doing it. It was very successful, night to night beef, this and that and everything else. And then we just sort of went our different ways in terms of what was going on. So me and Steve decided, you know what, we'll just leave and you can just run Soul Heaven. Because a name is a name, right?
Mm-hmm.
A name is just a name. But I know that me and Steve's name will always be here, no matter what brand we do. Bobby and Steve was born before any name. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Ourselves were born. Do you know what I mean? So again, that confidence thing and knowing who we are, it's not like we can do this, we can do that. We just thought rather than things, with business partners and everything else, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. We was having different ideas, and then we just split ways.
Mm-hmm. So when you were doing Miami as well, Soul on the Beach, was that a Garage City endorsed, or was that just Bobby and Steve presents Soul on the Beach?
That was just Bobby and Steve. That was just our thing, because we went out there for the music conference, went out there for the first year. We thought, we need some of this. Do you know what I mean? Because there wasn't no Soulful House promoters doing anything out there, right? It was all like New York people went to Miami and done their thing out there. So we went and done that. I think it was 94, 95, if I'm right, something like that. We ran for about 18 years, and we didn't do the Cleveland first. We've done a place called the Rex, which is a small club, again, 250. We like the 250 numbers all the time. We would start with the 250, right? Rex, it was on Espanola Way. Great little spot it was. And again, we thought, okay, so we was like the first ones, Soulful House, really going in and doing that. So we thought, place was rammed. So we thought, we've got another spot. We've got a place called the Shadow Lounge, that's where all the big New York people used to do their parties there. And we managed to get a night in there, smashed it there for a couple of years. And a lot of the other soulful promoters started coming to the conference and doing parties, nighttime parties. So we thought, okay, Steve said, fuck all this nighttime parties. Let's go for a daytime. We went to Clevelander and we got hold of the Clevelander on Ocean Drive. And that was just amazing. That was it, man. We was getting like 3,000 people throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. So was that the first year that we all came? We talk about it all the time. Our pilgrimage. I think it was 97. Was that the first year that you did it there?
The Cleveland, I believe so. Yeah, round about there. Yeah,
possibly, because Craig Lee and I talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
Bobby, Bob Povey, John. All the names you list off that are remember those times, and even the likes of Spoonie and. We were all there en masse for many years.
Me and Steve's on this journey going to this and that. But everyone, we're all going together, right? Mm-hmm. And we're all on this journey together. We're all excited as each other because it's not like me and Steve been doing it 20 years. Guys, we're ready now. Come. No, like you said, we're taking everyone with us. And we used to have, the lineups, man. We used to have like fucking 30 DJs, 30 PAs. Do you know what I mean? And it was the spot. All the Americans wanted to play there. All the American artists wanted to sing their hearts out there. Do you know what I mean? And the beauty thing about it was we wasn't even, it was again about the money thing, Bob. We was doing it, we could have been making thousands there, right? But we was doing it for a fee, just so our thing was covered. And some of the artists were just getting a minimal fee, not even a deep, nothing. But because it's a promotional thing, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but it was just the exposure you would get. And I mean, some of the videos we've got, man, we're going to start pumping things online so people can see what really went down there. Do you know what I mean? Because that Cleveland, the Soul on the Beach was just amazing for us to go back again. We was thinking about going back next year, might go back the year after, just to do one more, man, because it needs to be done. Do you know what I mean? It just needs to be done. But yeah, Miami was a major stepping stone for us. I mean, that was the international thing going at full force every year. You know, and Ibiza as well. We was one of the first to do Garage City, your sofa night, a regular thing there at Esparadis. Do you know what I mean? That was before Soul Heaven days. Doing Esparadis in San Antonio, doing that.
Remembering the story with Booker T, and I used to like a drink when I was playing, as you know. Fell backwards out of the DJ booth in Esparadis.
What, Esparadis? Did you fall out, did you?
Down the stairs.
Because it's quite hot, it's up.
You know how we do. You know how we do. Incredible.
That's not your best memory, though, is it, from Esparadis, right?
Oh, crazy.
But even that, again, you know, with the Ibiza thing, I mean, you know, we was all experiencing that together at the same time. And that's what makes it exciting for me and Steve as well, because all the DJs are being overexcited. You know, we're excited because we're all just experiencing this together.
I mean, we've skipped over the part where you started making music as well, because by then by this point you're actually producing as well now.
Yeah. I mean, me and Steve's first record was 1992, 2 years after Kiss was on, and we hooked up with Destry, American singer, and he wrote this track called "Love's Got Hold of Me," and me and Steve produced it and added some bits to it in a studio in Camden. We done the demo, played it on Kiss FM, was our first record. This is our first record, right? Because me and Steve has never looked at ourselves as being music producers, because we didn't need to go into that field because we was earning paper doing everything else. So it wasn't, I need to be a producer. It wasn't, you know, one record every 2 years we'd make or whatever. We made this first record we ever made, played it on Kiss FM on our Friday night show, first record. The phone never stopped ringing. And that was our first introduction into the A&R world. Simon Dunmore, Bob Masters, Sony Records, all of them were calling, what's that record? What's that record? We said, it's our record. And they couldn't believe it because we're not known as producers, right? And that was our first thing. And anyway, Simon Dunmore was at Cool Tempo Records, which is a subsidiary, it was the dance department of Chrysalis. And he signed a record. Simon signed a record, and yeah, and that was it. And he got to number 66 in the national pop charts without any promotion.
There you
and
go.
for that, there, that was good. But the record, yeah, and the record, it's a great record. Love's Got Hold of Me, Zoo Experience featuring Destry. We was called the Zoo Experience then. Yeah, and that was our first introduction into that. But like I said, even with the production thing, we've never delved into that world to a high degree. I'm giving it our full attention. Do you know what I mean?
Well, was it 24 Stracy? Was that one of the labels? 24
that was one of the labels. That was our address where we was brought up, 24 Stracy Road.
That's why I wanted to ask you where. Maybe I did know that, but I'd long since forgotten. The Join Hands EP. I think Chrissy's got a track on there as well.
Yeah. That's right.
In here somewhere. Just one of those, you know, fun memories when you look at those really significant moments for someone like myself, and I'm sure many other DJs will relate. Key moments when you would get a track and play, and it pinpoints a moment in your DJ career, or it pinpoints a club or whatever. So, you know, really, really big moments that you've been with us all along the way, and so many comments of people watching this and asking questions. And as I say that, I just look at Colin. He asks us a question. What's the history behind the Zoo Tribe, Bobby?
The Zoo Tribe track. The Zoo Tribe, Colin, big shout out to you, Cole. He always says that it's what he loved that record. That we had offices on Shaftesbury Avenue where Barumba was, the same road.
That's crazy little staircase at the top.
Yeah, 98 Shaftesbury Avenue. We had offices down there. I mean, look, we was there for 12 years. Do you know what I mean? Young, West Indian boys, offices on Shaftesbury Avenue. Back then, it wasn't heard of, right? 12 years we was there for. We had an office and we had a recording studio. We had 2 offices, and I said, I'm not really an office man, I'm a hands-on. So I said, let's make it into a studio. So we got a 32 track Mackie NBC 3000. Big up to Ricky Morrison, he taught me how to use it and everything else. And we just started getting cracking, going away, just doing stuff at the studio, the sampler and stuff and whatever, just being taught how to use stuff. So we started this label 24 Stracy. We're doing a lot of the stuff there and then mixing down at bigger studios. And that was that. And even with Chrissy wanted to make a record. So we had these independent labels. We had that, and we was running this. Them days, we was making money because it was independent label. Records were selling. Every week you get the distributor would come with their vans and we just get it out there and just run around with the records. It was beautiful days, right? Do you know what I mean? Because there was money to be made and it was all sort of independent, doing our thing. 1 second.
No worries.
So yeah, so that was all good. I've lost my train of thought now. What was you asking me?
We were Colin was asking you about the Zoo Tribe. Are you okay? You got to attend to anything?
No. It was just bleeping there, and I thought, what's that? So we had the studio there, and then I was messing about. I'm not going to use the word messing about. I was producing. Right? I thought, let me try and just do a tracky thing, because obviously we're into the soulful thing, chords and I taught myself how to play a bit. And I was just messing with these drums. I started listening to another record, I got some ideas, and I was just doing all that on the M1 keyboard, and there were some percussion sounds on there. So I was just getting the rhythm up, and I thought, this sounds good. And I could play a little bit, just self-taught, got the little bass line. And I did done this little thing on the song. I thought, this is rocking, I like this. And that's how it built up. And then we took that to another guy, went to another, Gerald Elms, who had a few tracks out on Defected, actually. He was based down the Elkent Road, that way in Southeast London. Went to his studio and it just built it up from there. He put some chords in it and some changes, some jazzy bits. And that's how that was born. But a lot of our music, a lot of our production, I like to start things up. I like to get my ideas, even with the songs that we brought up. I've always got the choruses, and then I get a singer in. I like to give birth to something and then just bring it in with other people, So that's how the Zoo Tribe come up. And it was that was our biggest seller on our label.
Right.
Non-vocal.
Well, you had a lot of talented vocalists around you and a lot of great producers. You mentioned Ricky Morrison, Ricky and Fran at the time. Everything they touched turned to gold. Just incredible. Yeah. And Pax just mentioned Brian Chambers. Did you discover Brian?
We didn't discover Brian. No, I think we met Brian. We met Brian at the ministry. I'm sure he was
He was a friend of Mark's or something. Was that? You remember Mark? Who used to work on the door.
Mark. Yeah. Hello, Mark.
That's how I remember Brian originally. Sorry, I'm talking over you. Do
that's
continue.
Fine. Talk, it's your show, brother. You know what I mean? You talk, I'll be quiet.
No. I want to hear. It's all about Bobby. So yeah, Brian.
Brian was we was at ministry one night. Wasn't our party? We was just there raving after our things, after our gigs, and then a cousin of ours knew Brian, Gary Budwell. He's one of our cousins, and he just going to Brian and said he was a singer. I'm sure that's what it was. I'll have to ask him. But that was introduction there. And then we just clicked and we just got together and started writing. Me and Brian would come by my house in East. I was living in East Ham there. Then we started writing a few tracks and didn't have a studio there. We just get together and just write ideas. I would start something, and we just clicked, man, Higher Love and all that. And, Brian's a great soul. And when he given the chance, he's a great songwriter. Do you know what I mean? And we just clicked, man, and we done some tracks together, and then we linked up with Overjoyed as well. And Brian helped write some songs with Overjoyed. Also, a guy called Dave Ellerton is a great producer. We all produced that together. We'd be in the studio at Shaftesbury Avenue, and just get it all together from there. Looking back at it now, even just talking about all that, it's great days, man.
Right,
just amazing days. If only there was cameras following us everywhere we could go.
Tracks with James Ratcliffe as well.
Yeah, James Ratcliffe as well. Used to go. James had a great studio at his house, which he still has. And we clicked. We met in the club, and then we was talking. And then he said, "What studio?" Paul Warren actually, because we used to do a night at Heaven. Me and Steve, we was residents there for a while, and then we got to know. We knew Paul Warren. That's because I got to know James Ratcliffe. Then he was friends with Paul Warren, etc. And then
Paul's been commenting throughout the course of the conversation.
Is he really?
Yeah.
He
Shouts
texted
out
me
to Paul.
a little while back. Actually, I'll hit him up. Yeah, so it's just the whole journey like that. I mean, there's so many names and so many people, as you can imagine, throughout the years. You know that's come through not just our clubs, but come through our office. You know, Shaftesbury Avenue Zoo events was, you know, with Mickey Baldwin, me, Steve, Mickey Baldwin, and Chrissy T. Rupert used to work there. Ollie started there with a zoo management thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so many. That was the hub, man. That was the hub for so many things I went through. Do you know what I mean? What a lot of people didn't know is like with Mickey Baldwin, he was doing the UK zoo events, was just smashing it. Period. Because UK Garage came up, and we were running like 5, 6, 7 clubs in London every Saturday night. Do you know what I mean? UK Garage, Soulful House, Lords of the Underground at Camden Palace, all them kind of things. So many great parties. You know, I know you haven't asked what was any great parties for any memories, but now we're talking about Camden. We done a party there with Masterwork. It was the first time we'd done 6 turntables or 8 turntables, whatever it was. And that night was just amazing. Louis obviously was friends with BB Winers. BB Winers was in town, and he had done a track with Eternal. And Kelly Bryant, who's just one of the singers in Eternal, she's my niece's, my sister's daughter's, Denise's best friend from kids. We've known Kelly since she was a baby.
Okay.
And then she's in Eternal, and then BB Winers in town. Let's see if we can get him down to play at the party at the Camden, at the Camden Palace. And that night, there's a video. Clemmy actually done a video of it at a music thing. It's that night was so amazing. BB Winers on stage. You know what I mean? I was like, I think it was a Thursday night as well, wasn't it?
It was a Thursday. We brought coaches down from London, from Birmingham. Sorry.
Huh?
We brought coaches down from Birmingham.
It was a Thursday night, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! You know, there's so many amazing, great things that was coming on, and BB Winers, man. Do you know what I mean?
I can still remember it, bringing them all out, calling them out by name, one at a time on the stage.
Yeah. It's just all surreal. So many great nights.
Have you got the masters of that video from Clemmy?
Yeah, I have to look. I'm sure I see something the other day because we've had a bit of work done on my house, and I'm sure I thought, yeah, I have got it.
Yeah. You definitely have to get.
Stay there. I'm going to just stay there.
No worries. Well, while he's gone off, I'm just going to say again to everyone, thank you for being here. We got a great response to this, and I'm sure this video will be watched time and time again by many people coming back. Thank you for being here. Again, apologies, I cannot give you all shout outs, but it's brilliant to have you commenting and liking the page. So do continue to comment, do continue to like the page, and we will get around to answering you at some point, and your comments will be there on the video for all to see time and time again. So thank you. Okay, Bob, what you got for me?
I'm back, and this wasn't planned. I found this the other day, and this is what Clemmy done. This is the double pack CD that he done as a special thing for us. All right.
Lift it up just a little bit more, just a tiny bit more. So lift it up more. So is it a CD or a DVD? It wouldn't be DVD.
CD. I believe it's CD and DVDs. It's just a 30-minute showcase. Yeah, I believe it's CD and DVDs.
Wow. I know Paul Warren did share a photograph.
This thing. There's 2 that, there's 4 discs in here. Wow. So I'm going to check that out and see if we can get the rights to reproduce this. Make some fucking money.
There you go, world exclusive. So Paul Warren has got the video, the VHS of that night.
Is that what he said?
Paul, well, he's got it. He showed photos of it.
Oh, wicked. Thursday, 11th of June, 1998. All right.
I shared the other week on my radio show, I shared a recording of my show back on, I can't remember if it was Choice or Galaxy by then, with the voice, because you did the voiceover. I wrote the script for the advert for us to put on Choice, and we took the coaches down, and I shared the radio show of the
Choice in Birmingham.
Of the week before, and we were talking about it. So that was really quite good, really quite interesting, incredible party. And there were two two nights. What was, or maybe it was the one because it all blends into one. Was that the same night where the cake came out on stage, or was that Louis' birthday, a different one, or is that
I think
Louis'?
that was Louis' birthday. I think that it might have been the same one. Because
Yeah,
we
that's
done
right.
two. There was two parties that was done there. That's right.
Yeah. So difficult to differentiate. So yeah. So you started to say about the UK garage, but not everyone's going to be aware of that you had all of this going on at the same time, with the zoo management and the zoo enterprises, everything going on. Just explain about the rise of what you had going on, and it was a not an enterprise. What's the word I'm trying? Your empire. That was it. The
Yeah.
empire was growing.
Yeah. And that's what it truly was. And do you know what the funny thing is? We've never sat down, me and the boys, and me, Mickey, and Mickey Borges and Steve. We never, like I said, we're not them guys who think, look what we got here. Hey, we're doing well. Da, 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 da. None of that. Do you know what I mean? We're just doing what we're doing and just rolling and just rolling and just rolling. This UK garage thing, when the UK garage emerged, do you know what I mean? And it was getting in the vibe. Mickey Baldwin was like, he was just on it. You had all Spoonie in the Dream Team, people that he knew from time. Do you know what I mean? Because even Spoonie, he came and played at Garage City for us. We gave him a big break as well there, because they were saying, listen, Jonathan, let him come and play. I forget who it was that was bringing him up there. Someone was promoting him front, and we gave him the thing. I thought, this guy's wicked. And that was the thing. Anyone who had great talent who came to the thing, they stayed with us. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? They was always on board, like yourself. Do you know what I mean? All the talented lots. And even if there was, because Steve used to do competitions on KISS. And if you get, a competition, then you can open up the night for us at the lab, the DJ lab and all that at Barumba. The UK Garage thing came along, and obviously me and Steve in the Soulful House, so we wasn't into it too tough. We wasn't into it at all, really, in the beginning. But the beauty thing was our partner was. So he got it to get, started doing the promotions all under the Zoo Events banner. And, Lords of the Underground, I can't remember the names of it. It must have been about 4 different brands. But people didn't know, really. Some of them was all coming out from our office. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that was the thing. But that was the business move that we did. And then I started playing on a couple of them, but just playing the soulful side of the UK garage, because it did sort of take over from the Clubland in London.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, what's going on there? Were we responsible for this by pushing it too much?
Adapt or die kind of scenario.
So we started, doing a bit of it on there and that, but then, it just slowly went back into our groove. So yeah, I mean, the UK Garage is still massive now. You see how it is now. They do parties and they're still smashing it and doing great things. People like EZ who came along, known EZ for years, man. Des Parks, was a friend of ours, one of them who introduced me to EZ. From we've known EZ since a long time.
Fever Soul is saying absolutely gorgeous. One of the nights.
Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. And then you had all Twice as Nice, which wasn't nice, which was Steve Gordon's one. And that came and just took over everything. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's like I said, it's a London thing, right? This UK goes London thing.
well, it was. We had a little tickle in Birmingham as well.
Yeah, so after we started it off down in London, you got some bits and pieces.
Yeah, we got the scraps. So let's roll it on into the 2000s. Then in the middle of the 2000s, Soul Heaven, you were very much responsible for the rise and the success of that. And then when you parted ways with Soul Heaven, what was the next move?
We parted ways with Soul Heaven, and then, I'd say for the last 15 years, we've been working with Mikey Hughes. Who,
but there was a bit of a gap before that happened, wasn't there? That didn't happen immediately.
We were just doing parties, little parties, I think, just on one-off parties here and there, and stuff. To know exactly what we were doing, I think maybe we gave the promotion a little rest, but we were still actively DJing every week, traveling around the world. Very blessed to being well traveled and always getting bookings around the world. But yeah, the 2000s. I'm trying to think of the name of the club. The name of the club just got into my head and it's just escaped me.
International?
It just escaped me. There was one thing, but what we did have, I mean, the 2003, we got some residencies in Italy as well. Because we was the first time we went to Italy was for '93. Rupert reminded me today, we've done a Garage City tour, Italy. And Italy's been our second home for a long time because they love soulful house music. And we got a residency in Italy for about 2 years. We was there every month in this club in Italy, which was 3,000 people. So when we wasn't really promoting it, we was busy doing other things over there like that. And then we just came back, and then a friend of ours, Mickey Baldwin, who was our business partner at Zoo Events, his brother Tony Houston, rest in peace. He introduced us to
another great dancer from back in the day, right?
Yeah, that's right, exactly. He introduced us to Mikey Hughes.
Right. So Julie's just been your saviour and says Bobby and Steve presents for quite a few of those parties.
Yeah. Herbal. We forgot about Herbal. There you go. So I don't even know what bloody year Herbal was. Steve's the one with all the dates, but Herbal in Shoreditch was a club. Do you see there's so many things that just happened? It's like, wow. Herbal, we was doing Herbal for a couple of years. We was just doing amazingly there. And then we left there for a year, 2 years. And then we joined up. Tony used to introduce us to Mikey Hughes, who's our partner now in Groove Odyssey. And we went back to Herbal and started doing Bobby and Steve Presents. Thanks, Julie. Started doing Bobby and Steve Presents there. Packing that out, small club, but just like the right vibe and everything. And then we done couple of bigger parties in South London. And then we stopped doing that, and then we started Groove Odyssey, which is celebrating 12 years this Saturday at the Ministry of Sound. And so Groove Odyssey is our new baby now to date. Everything's in the same format of what we've done from the beginning. We're still doing the same style of music, still employing and booking a lot of the great artists. I mean, this Saturday is 12 years.
Well, while you're saying that, I can press a button and bring the flyer up onto the screen. You won't be able to see that, so I'll read it out. The 12th birthday, Groove Odyssey, Saturday the 27th of November, Dave Lee, India. Spen, Bobby and Steve. In the loft, you have Omotoshi, Miss Ray, Steve Macker, Freddie Bad, Groover Washington, The House Poet, DJ Replay. In the 103, I believe that's a 103. At Jazz, Soul Brown, Billy Cox, David Bailey, David Fiorese, talking about Italy, Funky P, and then in the baby box, Bigger, Lloyd Life, Mr. Buzzard, Paul Morrissey, and Mr. Colin Williams. I mean, what a lineup! That's they don't come any more bigger and more credible than that, I don't think. And that is that's no mean feat to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, and it's gonna be it's gonna be amazing, as they always are. The parties at Groove Odyssey always are it's always a great night out, because again, it's just all about the music and it's about the people. It's everything coming together, and we've been fortunate enough and blessed that all of our parties, and I say that with confidence, has always just intertwined and just linked with everything: the music, the club, the people, the whole package. If we've done 50,000 parties, maybe there's 10 that we said shouldn't have done that. The rest of them have all been amazing, right? And this Saturday is going to be no exception to that rule. Do you know what I mean? It's just I keep using that word blessed because that's the only word as you get older you got to think of as you look back on the journey. And our journey has been good. Has there been some dark days for promoting? Not really. No. For us,
but it's integrity, passion, hard work. All of those things are the ingredients to get you to where you are now. And with the Saturday party coming up, you've gone back to Ibiza, obviously before all the madness that we faced in the last couple of years. Was that not a difficult decision to make? Were you happy with getting able to rediscover the White Isle again with Groove Odyssey?
With the guy Ibiza, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Again, it was Steve said, we need to get back into Ibiza because, again, we had we put a stamp for Soulful House in Ibiza for a regular basis. When I say we was one of the first of this, one of the first of that, there might have been other people going to do parties, but I'm talking about on a regular, weekly, season basis thing, Bob. Do you know what I mean? That's what we injected into the island. And having that long break, I don't know, 10 years or whatever it was, it was time, because the music, again, like I said, soulful house music will never die. It will never die, never go away. And then you see the emergence of disco. You know, our kids, my youngest is 22, oldest is 32. They've grown up on that music. And as you know, maybe your kid, that's the music they love now. You know, disco. At least they went into the R&B thing, all that, but all the disco and everyone's doing this and that and all that house, soulful house. It's just, and so it's come back, and we just thought we need to have a presence again. And it's not for the sake of people knowing, it's for our presence as well, because Ibiza is a spiritual home for us. Do you know what I mean? We've been going there since the early 90s, and it means it's more to us just by doing a night. It's more than that. The island means more to us than just doing a party and you know, getting smashed. Them days are in the past. It's more of a spiritual connection now, and you go back to get what you need, and that's what we did. We thought, so he said, let's, you know, just start small, get a hotel, this and that. And the first one was just unbelievable. We just only wanted to get 300 people. Let's just start small, make it cool, and whatever. 500 people got the first one, but was it the first one that you came to, or the second one?
No, I came to the first one.
First one, and we was just blown away by it. And people, you could see, okay, people want this. Do you know what I mean? We made it cheap as possible, because you know what Ibiza can be like. You know, it's just, even though we're all old people still want a bargain, right? Do you know what I mean? So, and it just worked. Do you know what I mean? And it's still working, and we're blessed to go back there and do what we had to do, and just keep up the vibe and be surrounded by a lot of the people that we wanted to do it with. Do you know what I mean? With some great DJs, Paul Anderson, Phil Asher, both rest in peace. It's just crazy how we're losing these people. And all of our DJs new and bringing new people into the circuit as well, you know, which is something that me and Steve have always done. You know, people say, oh, you got a lot of old DJs, yeah, but we've got some new ones as well, because you have to give credit for them. You know, they're coming up and doing what they're doing. But yeah, Ibiza has been good to us. It's still been good to us, and we're very happy and very proud of what we're doing with Guy Ibiza. And it's still, hopefully, it will be on for next year as well.
Incredible. Pugwash mentioned something about the radio station. When did that stop for you? The broadcasting, because you had probably the best show in the land, without a shadow of a doubt, for many years. How did that come to an end?
I don't even know what year it was, right? And that's a good truth, because I'm pretty shit with years and that, and Steve would just roll it off like that. Now, I don't know. I would say about, maybe, if I say 15 years ago, could it be 15 years ago or something? Maybe that. See, what happened with that? We understand progression and business things moving and everything else. What happened with KISS was, obviously things changed, and they wanted to get different formats in, and you saw a lot of the other people leaving or getting pushed out. We were still there doing our thing, but the management changed, and the new company bought Kiss FM, and they got different ideas. You know, we're business people, we understand that, which was cool. Being business people and working for yourself for so long, and knowing the route you want to take, and believing in yourself, and knowing yourself, we was told this is what actually happened, right? We was doing the show on a Friday night. In the new building, because KISS wasn't on Holloway Road no more. It had moved and been bought by EMAP, I think that was called. And then we was doing the show, and we was doing, Soul Heaven, I think, Soul Heaven, a ministry, I'm sure it was, yeah. So we was promoting Soul Heaven, a ministry. I'm live on the mic, ministry sound Soul Heaven. One of the young producers had come in, because we produced our own show, right? But we said, it's okay, we can produce, we do our own show. So they came in and said, just got a phone call, you're not allowed to say, promote ministry no more. I said, why not? Because it's not a Kiss FM party. I said, well, no one told us we couldn't do it in the first place. I said, you're not allowed to say ministry of sound. So I said to him, okay, so tell me exactly what I'm not allowed to say. He said, you're not allowed to say ministry of sound. That's what I'm not allowed to say, yeah. So he went out the door. Soul Heaven this Saturday at 103 Gaunt Street.
Elephant and Castle.
Elephant and Castle. But that's what I did, right? Next thing, the guy runs back in, whoever the guy's name was. They said, you've got to come to the office on Monday. I said, did they? I said, okay. That was it. So we went to the office on Monday. And I woke up on the Monday morning, I said to Steve, I said, fuck this. I said, we're resigning. He said, what? I said, forget it. We're not doing it no more. I said, we're not doing it no more. I said, what? I said, forget the show. We'll do something else. Forget it. He said, what? So we walked into the meeting, and before they could say, we sat down and I said, you're right, not bad. Before they could say anything, we said, we're resigning. So what for? He said, just all this nonsense of the way we can see it all go. And it's all fine as usual. We just feel like we're not part of it. Why are you going to do that? That's not what this meeting's about. I said, it doesn't matter. We've been commissioned to come here and because of what we said, this and that. He goes, yeah, but you said this. And I said, exactly. There you go. I ain't got time for this. And that's how we are. Yeah. It's not like don't say nothing to us, but we could see it moving to somewhere where we didn't feel we was going to fit in under them commandments. Uh-huh. Do you know what I mean? Totally. And that was our exit. That was our exit from Kiss FM. We left.
Right. Okay. So mid 2000s.
No regrets. No regrets. But yeah, we have an amazing show. Love doing radio. Still do a show on House FM now because of what's happened in the last 2 years with the pandemic. I haven't done the show on House FM, but we do a regular show on House FM. We was on after Louis Vega. I will be resuming that in 2022. What month, I don't know, but obviously we've taken a break from everything else from doing that. But radio is still something that I will always do. I will get back into radio because I love doing it. I love playing new music. I love playing that music. I just love doing radio, man. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
that'll come next year. So yeah. I think we covered the journey, we covered the successes, we covered all of the highs. I think we can roll back to the winter of 2019. I think it was. You can tell me specifically when you and Stevie went on a trip to Italy. I believe you had a gig in Italy, and then you came back from Italy. Was that? Am I correct in remembering?
It's for the COVID.
Yeah.
Before. No. This was March 2020. 7th of March.
It was March. Okay, you
forgive
me. I thought it was the back end. Okay,
that's okay. It doesn't make no difference. The outcome's still the same, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm fairly certain pretty much everybody is fully aware of the story, but I think it would be. We need to frame it again. You know.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I'm going to say this. A lot of people don't know the story. I get texts from people, maybe in London based or whatever, because it's out there a lot. People I know, friends I know who live in Holland who become the club. What's happened? This is last week. What's happened? I just heard from Steve. Tell me this isn't true.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Okay. Even though it's nearly 2 years on, 4 months, 20 months now. So it's important for me to still talk about it because it's important. You know, people need to know, and I want to get the message out there. Okay. So yeah, so it was 7th of March 2020. Before lockdown happened on the 23rd. We went to Madrid to play for our good friend Nacho, his party in Madrid. Obviously, COVID was very evident in Wuhan, in China, everything else, but it's not on your doorstep. And it's only looking back at you think, this is just the human, how we behave, right? You see people dying across the pond, you see this and that, this and that, with this virus, and I wasn't scared, I wasn't worried about it. Why? Because it's not here. Ignorance and everything. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of us are guilty for that because there was no lockdown here. Maybe if the guys, we're not even playing any blame games, but we got on the plane on the 7th of March, we went to Madrid. There's no lockdown in Europe. There's no lockdown in Europe, in Madrid. There's no lockdown here. So everyone's cracking on with their life, right? We went to Madrid, done this club with Nacho, 300 capacity club, whatever, packed, really, really hot. Me, Steve, went, my daughter, his daughter, Julie, and Stuart, our friend Stuart. So about 6 of us went over there. Me and Steve went to different airports because Steve lives near Gatwick Airport and I flew from here, from Stansted. And then, so we was there on the Saturday, played the club Saturday night, came back on the Sunday. Monday, we're here having a meeting. I'm here, Steve's at Gatwick, Steve's at Crawley where he lives. We're on the phone having a business meeting with someone else. And then I started losing my breath, just talking like this now, just unable to breathe. And then he comes back. I thought, what the fuck's that? And then he just comes back normal.
Wow.
10 minutes later, Steve's doing the same thing on the phone. So there was no fear because there was nothing happening here, right? In the UK about this and that. And there was nothing. We were watching everything across the pond, but we was aware of COVID, but not the symptoms of whatever. I didn't even look into it. So we thought, oh shit, I think we've caught something here. So in the hour, we'd done it a few times on that phone call. And that was that. On the Saturday, we had another gig in Manchester, the 15th now it is. Yeah, I think it's the 15th now, or whatever, the 14th, 15th of March. Went down there, about 15 of us on the train. Lost my taste buds on the train, having a laugh about it, not connecting it to COVID because there was no symptoms put out there about what it was then. Got to Manchester and I started feeling fucking like shit. Feeling just, like I've never had these feelings before, like flu, but just didn't feel right. Luckily, the club was in the hotel. It was in the basement. So we were supposed to go out for dinner that night and I ended up not going to dinner with everyone. I said, I'm going to go to bed. Wake me up at 2:00 when it's time for me to play. They did. Went downstairs, played. I was fine. Had a couple of brandies. Adrenaline kicked in. I was good. Went back to bed. Woke up the next day and I felt like death, whatever that feeling is. I've never had this feeling before. Got on the train and got home and I was in my bed from the Sunday afternoon till Thursday night, Friday morning, the 20th of March now. And my wife was sleeping upstairs in the loft because my temperature had gone to 39 degrees. And I knew afterwards when I got discharged that I sent a text to my wife saying, you need to take me to the hospital because I can't breathe. And she came down, she said, I was just panting for breath. And I remember getting in the car, driving me to the hospital. And I remember walking out of the car and that's it. I remember walking into the hospital, into the reception thing, and that's all I remember. And I remember waking up, I was told it was 5 hours later, and I was on a bed in not in ICU, just in recess or whatever it's called. And the doctor had said to me, we're going to have to, because my wife wasn't allowed in this section now, right? Because COVID restrictions have kicked in. I remember him saying to me, we're going to have to juice you, put you in an induced coma. Sorry, excuse me, in an induced coma. You're going to have to put me into the induced coma. And I remember saying to him, what's that again? Because my head's all over the place. He said, we're going to put you in a coma. And I just said, just do what you got to do. Because I had no fear. Because there was no fear of anything. I didn't know anyone who was anything to do with COVID. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd never been hospitalised before. And that was that. So he put me in a coma. I woke up 7 days later from this coma, and I was in, so my local hospital was in where I live, East London, Whipps Cross. And I woke up in St. Paul's, central London, in Barts Hospital, St. Paul's. They had moved me 24 hours after I was admitted because they said they needed more room because more people were coming in. And I was, even though I was in a coma, I was strong enough to be transported. So I woke up in the hospital out of my coma in my own ICU room, which was a bit surreal is the word, because I woke up and I didn't know where I was. I knew I'd been sick. A couple of things happened to me whilst I was in my coma. I went into a spiritual side of stuff. I was in a white room and everything else. And my dad had passed a year before I was after I admitted. So, and I'm speaking to my dad while I'm in the coma as well, asking him for help. So I had this spiritual thing happen to me. I woke up in ICU and the sun, I was in my own room. Now I'm waking up, I've still got a mask on me, not the main ventilator, taking it off, right? So I remember them telling me to squeeze my finger, follow my finger and all that. And I think that was the day before. And the next day I was strong enough, so they took the mask off for me, and then there was blinds there and the sun was shining through these blinds. And I looked up on the wall, there's these 3 world clocks. And one of them said Dubai, one of them said London, and one of them said something else. And there was about 4 doctors and nurses in there. And they was all Mediterranean, like all Dubai-looking people, Middle Eastern, pretty girls, good-looking guys, all sort. Yeah, and I thought, where the fuck am I? How did I get to Dubai? That's in my head. They said, and I was scared to ask where I was. And for about 2 days, I didn't ask where I was.
Really?
And then they told me the story of where I was. Anyway, I got better, right? I was a quick recovery. I was in hospital for 14 days. On the 12th day, 2 days before I was discharged, I was put into a ward, and my wife was allowed to bring my phone for me, right? So she said that, oh, just to let you know, Steve's been brought in, because Steve, while I was in the hospital, Steve had been getting better and then getting worse, and he was up and down. But he was speaking to everyone and telling everyone about me, you know. Steve, still my wife said, oh, Steve's been brought into hospital. So I said, it's okay, it's fine. You'll be out in 2 weeks. Again, I'm only referencing myself, right? Lockdown in the UK happened on the 23rd. I was in a coma when it happened. I went in a coma, you know, from the 20th. So I've come out and I don't even know what's going on in the outside world. So all I know is myself. I'm on my phone. I can talk. Steve's going to be okay. Be out in 2 weeks' time. That's it. So I got discharged. I said I want to go home. They said no. I convinced them to let me go the day after that. So I got home, and again, so a week's gone by now. Steve's still in the coma. Okay, referencing myself. 2 weeks gone by now. Steve's still in the induced coma. They said, oh, they can't take him out yet because he was getting distress. They call it distress with the tube, the ventilator tube. Every time I was taking it off, he was biting the tube. So I think it was about 3.5 weeks. Then they reduced all the sedation, and they realised that they was doing the check on him, same as with me. Steve had opened, so they've taken the sedation's worn off now. So Steve's eyes are open. He's opened his eyes, and they're asking him to squeeze the finger. He's not squeezing the finger. They asked him to follow the finger. He's not following the finger. They thought, okay. Then they said they're going to need to do a CT scan. I think before this, they were saying that there's no concern about anything neurological because, again, they hadn't come across anything. Even the doctors, it was all new for them, right? So they wasn't expecting what was to come. So they didn't think, they said, oh, no, we don't need to do one. I think they put it off for a couple of days or whatever. Then they said, oh, we're going to need to do one. Then a CT and an MRI scan. And it showed that the virus had got into Steve's nervous system and got into his brain and inflamed cells and just damaged cells in his brain, basically. And they said he's been diagnosed with acute hemorrhagic leukoencephalitis, which is one of the worst brain injuries you can get. Basically, it's affected Steve's the cells that we need to respond, to respond to anything. So Steve's in a prolonged disorder of consciousness, which means he cannot communicate. So Steve, I was with him today, actually. You know, didn't you? Because I got you to speak to him. I was with him today. So Steve's basically Steve's condition is he can't do anything. Steve cannot move his body. He can't move his body. He cannot. He can't talk. He can't communicate. In that journey, what Steve had for the 3.5 weeks, in the first week, or I think it was the first week or whatever, Julie was getting two phone calls saying he's not looking good. All of his organs were just gone. You know what I mean? That virus it ate away all his organs. So there was calls, and he had to have 2 rounds of CPR. They lost him a couple of times. This is before the diagnosis. When they found out that it had affected his brain. So Steve is left in this condition. All his organs are fine. Do you know what I mean? And I could sit here and say, we're really pleased because
he did take a turn for the worse, didn't he? But and then when I'd spoken to you a few months ago, you said he's doing so much better now.
He's and Steve's just fighting and fighting and fighting. But when I say fighting and fighting and fighting, it's not like every day, oh, is he going to make it tomorrow? Steve's here, man. Steve ain't going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? He's out of the danger zone with Steve leaving here, right? Steve ain't checking out. What it is, the diagnosis, what Steve's got, acute hemorrhagic leukoencephalitis, is such a rare brain injury. This is what they're telling us at the beginning. And I said, we don't want to hear it. Stop using that word rare. But I'm saying it now because through research that we've done ourselves, me and Julie and the family, it's so fucking rare. The Encephalitis Society here in York, and I've been speaking to them, and when we told them, they said, he's got what? I said, please don't say that word rare. He said, I have to. You know what I mean? It's become like not a joke sort of thing. We've learned just to bring some light to things because we are very positive, right? We're very, very positive in Steve's condition. It's you're not straight away. It's just something that the doctors are saying 10% of people is what the figure they gave us will come back from this. At what level, we don't know. So straight away, I said, it doesn't matter if you said 1%. I just got this belief that Steve's going to be okay. I don't, whether he just comes back, he's singing and dancing, I don't know. but I know Steve's going to give us something. He's going to start responding. He's going to do something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
He,
you have said there have been moments, several moments, where there has been some kind of response. So do you want to tell us about that, and how you believe
yeah,
you can encourage that now?
yeah. Well, when we say responses, so the first hospital that Steve was at, he was there for 3 months, I believe. He's sewing in Crawley, where they live. And me and Julie was the only two family members allowed to see Steve. And then this was before he was on any medication and stuff. He wasn't at new. It's not new in the hospital. It's the normal hospital, right? So me and Julie was with Steve. Steve's in the bed because he has to be hoisted out of the bed and into the chair because he can't move, right? So Steve's in the bed, and then we're either side of him, me and Julie, and then this was a massive turning point for me. Massive. This was it. This was the one for me, right? Because Julie says, "Oh, Steve, come on, Steve, you can do this, brother. Come on. Just look at Bobby and look at Steve." No, Julie was saying, "Just look at me, Steve. Come on, try and look at me, because we're either side and he's looking straight. Just look at me, Steve. Come and look at me." And I'm at the other side, and then Julie goes, "Look at Bobby." And then look at me. Then I started encouraging. We was doing it. I don't know, 10 minutes, keep doing it. And then Steve just looked one way and looked the other way.
I did say, "Well, you two shut up."
Motherfucker. He looked one way, he looked at Julie, and he looked at me. And that was it. And he looked, and that was it. Our hearts just
Giving me goosebumps just listening
to
it.
And that was the point. I just said, it's okay. It's all right. Everything's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. That was all I needed. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just got this vibration from that just lifted me, because obviously before that, and obviously you can imagine, at the beginning wasn't easy, man. You know what I mean? No, not for none of us. With me, I don't know life without Stevie. He's my twin brother. He's been in my life come on, man. Do you know what I mean? I don't know life without Steve. So it was like, shit. It's not like it wasn't even about we're not going to do this no more, do that, or what's going to happen if you can't do this, because we're not selfish people. I wasn't thinking about me. I was just thinking, we're one, we're two, we're just one. That's how we are. And I was thinking, something has to give. And that sign was him telling me, right? Him obviously telling Julie, but this is what I'm taking from this. Everything's going to be okay. And from that moment, I just lifted. And then even with Julie, I said to her, she goes, Julie was still a bit down. But then Julie, a few months or 2 months or whatever after that, she got really comfortable with something happened. And, it's just taking their moment. It's not like, I'll take that. You feel that. When you're in this situation with someone that you love, right? Dearly, deeply, unconditionally, there's just something that happens, and just the vibration that it wasn't just like, oh, he looked at me. No. It's deeper and bigger than that, man. And Steve is in a great place now, in Hazelmere in Guildford. And he's been there, the 16th of November was 1 year since he's been at this place now. This is where Steve will be until we get him. Steve, the house is done and he get home and everything else. The home adaptations are done. But it's an amazing place where he's at. And they are allowed, they've got their own transport because it's a really top end place. And they're allowed home visits. Because Steve doesn't need a lot of clinical, he's been fed with a tube, but that's it. Do you know what I mean? He's not on the edge, so to speak, and all his organs are good. So he was allowed a home visit. So I believe it was last June, this June or whatever. This June just gone. I might be getting my dates wrong. My mum was there, and a few of our family members, and we're at the house. And then my mum is praying. She's doing rosary with Steve. So Steve's sitting. I don't know why I keep going to the side. Steve's sitting. He's in his wheelchair, and his face on. My mum's to the side, and we're down the other end of the lounge, having a laugh, because it was a very uplifting day. Just the fact that we saw Steve in his house after everything that could have gone wrong, his hair, right? Even if it is for 3 hours, you're fucking here, brother. And this is where and we noticed the glow in Steve. We noticed the difference in Steve. So even though they say he's in a prolonged disorder of consciousness, that means he's got no awareness. We know and believe that the first and last sense is you're hearing. So what they say is Steve can most probably hear. A couple of the consultants at the beginning, but a lot of people not saying it because they don't want to commit to it, Western medicine things. He can hear, but he can't respond. So imagine you can hear everything, but you cannot respond or move your body. So trapped in your body syndrome, right? So my mum's at the side doing prayers. We're all happy, having a laugh at the other side. And my mum goes, oh my God, oh my God. So we've turned around thinking, what's happening? Steve had moved his head and faced my mum, because he knows that's mum there. And my mum brought that power to Steve for him to do. That's what happened. Now, it's them moments that you think the brain will not allow Steve to do all this all the time and communicate, because the damage has been done, right? For him to do it. But slowly, on and off, little blinked moments, it's happening. Do you know what I mean? And it's just time. But how long is time? How long? Is it 5 minutes? Is it going to be 5 years? We don't know. Don't know, and I don't really care, because it's 20 months now. When I say I don't care, I just know if you start concentrating on the time, you lose focus as far as my story. So I'm just what will be, right? But Steve's good. Amongst all of this, for me, Steve's good, okay? Because things could be a lot worse. And Steve's in there, man. Steve's in there. Of course, it breaks our hearts seeing our loved one like this. Do you know what I mean? But he's there, and he's still here for a reason. Do you know what I mean? It's, a few months ago, he had sepsis. He's got kidney stones. He had kidney stones which led to sepsis. He had to be rushed to a hospital. On top of all of this, what he's got going on, he was rushed in a blue light to the bloody hospital. Julie's calling me. This is the morning of 51st date. 1:30 or 2:30. Julie's calling me saying, "Kind eyes out. I've just got a call from hospital." He's like, "What the fuck? What?" And he got pneumonia. He's got all these things, 3-4 severe things in the morning of the 51st date. We wasn't allowed to go in the hospital. The next day, we find out that the doctors are saying, we can't put Steve in ICU. Steve's in a serious condition, but we can't put, why can't you put him in ICU? Because of the condition that he has, and he won't make it. If we put him on a ventilator, he's not going to make it. Right. So he's got a urine infection, he's got pneumonia, and he's got sepsis. And then later on, a week later, they found out it's because of the kidney stones. So he's got kidney stones. So they was writing Stevie off. They was writing him off, right? So I said, so what are you going to do? If things get worse, they said, it's not looking good. They're writing him off. Anyway, I just said to myself, Steve ain't checking out like this, man. Steve hasn't gone through everything he's gone through in the last 18 months or whatever it was to get an infection. I know it happens to other people. I said, Steve ain't going out like that. It's not happening. And then what happens? A week later, after about 5-7 days, Steve just turned a corner. Temperature's gone down. Steve's got discharged back to the. Do you know what I mean? They didn't put him in ICU, but Steve didn't need to go in ICU because Steve's still fighting. Do you know what I mean? And I was we were so proud of him, man. We are so proud of him. And he's fine. I got him some boxing gloves, man, because I thought you need some fucking boxing gloves, because I bought him some boxing gloves because he's fighting such a great fight and throwing so many fucking punches. His gloves are worn out. We've got boxing gloves for him, and they're stuck up on his fucking wall in the hospital, in his room, right? Because he's fighting such a... Andy, unless you're in this situation, everyone, we're at an age where we're all going to go through things. Losing, no, we lost our mum. You know, we're all going to go through things in life, what comes through, but this is life. But this situation, we never think of it. But why wouldn't we think of it? Because it doesn't happen. Well, it does fucking happen, and it's happened to Steve. So what we got to do? I'm not the sort of person to stay in bed until Steve gets better and cry every single day. It's not a proud thing. We've had my moments, don't get me wrong, but there's just a power and there's a blessing, and we believe in the universe, we believe in God, we believe in the power of prayer, and it's all them things that's getting us and getting Stevie through. I know Stevie's in there and he's talking to God and doing this. I know that, man. And that's what it is, what's getting all of us through this. Do you know what I mean?
Julie's commenting saying, and a disco ball as well.
Yeah, Julie got him a disco ball, yeah. She bought one, so it was too small, so she got a bigger one.
Mentioning disco ball and you saying you're not one to lie in bed and just, let this happen to you. One of the biggest things was to, was it your decision to put on the event, or was it after? I'm sure so many people must have reached out to you and said, come on, put on an event, man. How can we help? Well,
so many, the beautiful thing about all of this and the Dance for Stevie event that we did on the 3rd of October, Well, so many people, for those who've been listening for this, who don't know the Bobby and Steve story, and you've heard snippets of our journey from 84, as not just DJs, because we're not just DJs, we're DJs promoters hand in hand from day one. We've collaborated with so many people, and so many people have reached out from around the world. What can we do? What can we do to help? We can't, from UK as well, everyone, what can we do to help? They feel helpless. They said, we've given so much. And it was very, very emotional for me, even now thinking about it. Because when people say to you, you've given so much to the music industry and so much to us, we need to give something back to you. I mean, how beautiful is that, man? Do you know what I mean? And it just, even now, it just like, because I'm not sad, I'm getting a bit rolled up because it's the beauty.
It is a beautiful thing.
That just brings it out for me. And it's like, look at that, man. Everyone was just, and still are. Do you know what I mean? So the party, then, I was speaking to people like Trevor Nelson, we've known since day one. We both started our careers at the same time. Back in 84, we used to play with each other. Trevor Nelson reached out, and I think it was 1 week, Trevor and a lot of the DJs on that level now reached out and said, Bob, whenever you're doing a party, just keep in contact, let me know. This is about a year ago, whatever. And in that 1 week, I was getting bombarded by these people doing it, saying these things. I thought, okay. So it stuck in my head. Steve coming home, turning his head. It wasn't just a turn of his head. Steve was home for 4 hours that first visit, and because of the brain injury, Steve gets spasms, right? So he'll tense up because for 30 seconds or whatever. You'll get there maybe 2-3 hours, 3 times in an hour. When he was home for 4 hours, he never had one. Not one spasm. We saw the glow on Steve's face that he knows he's home.
He knows he's
home. He knows he's home. Come on, man. Do you know what I mean? So, and then turning his head to my mum. He needs to be in the environment. COVID has restricted not just us, but a lot of families with visiting. All right. The power of love is unconditional. The power of love is the only medicine that Steve needs right now, because the doctors haven't. There isn't a tablet to fix Steve. But we know what can fix Steve. Be surrounded by us. We're still restricted to visits. No, I was there today. We'll have 2 visits a week, just me and Julie. And sometimes another family member come because of COVID and everything else. And because he's in a neurological hospital, there's 40 patients there. There have to be extras,
vigilant.
They're more vulnerable. But it was that visit really that made us realize that the house needs to get adapted, because they haven't got downstairs facilities, toilet, bathroom. So we need to make extension, we need to do this, do that, and get home. So we was just going to do that ourselves as a family. And then I thought, it's a win-win situation. Everybody wants to help. You know what I mean? And we need to help. So they can help us, and everyone, and that's it. So we decided to put on this party. I spoke to Mike Hughes, we did a thing. We organised a part of Ministry of Sound. Spoke, and then Andy, do you know what? You know what it's like, promote, because you put on events yourself. I was in Ibiza at the time when I just thought, you know what, this needs to happen. Spoke to Mikey, got Ministry done. It was like an hour, just a return phone call. When I got the confirmation, it must have been about, I would say 3/4 of that lineup was done in 3 hours. Everyone I was reaching out to, yes, dude. And I thought, why can't life be like this? I'm looking all the time when you put on a party. It was just, rather than waiting fucking 3 weeks for an agent to get back. It was amazing and beautiful. So that was what happened, what spurred on to do the Dance for Stevie. And then we came up with the name Dance for Stevie. And we thank again everyone who came to that party. And we raised a lot of money from that party. We're not there yet, but we're nearly there for the funds that we need. We need 120 grand to get everything going. We're nearly there. And we've got the GoFundMe page as well, which people can donate. It goes to Steve's COVID injury, brain injury story.
Well, there is actually on the video description, I have pasted the link that people can see that, and we will post it again in the comments. And I'm sure Colin maybe can post the link here. But to be honest, I'm fairly certain pretty much everyone that's watching right now will have already donated to that. But it's to hear your story again. I'm sure people will feel the need to contribute a little bit more without a shadow of a doubt.
So that's what we did. We done the party, and you know, like you said about my mum passing, Sunday the 3rd of October was always going to be a day that was firm into me and my family's minds and souls and everything forever, because it was a day that we'd done for Stevie and everyone came together. And I want to thank every single person, the DJs and every single person that came to that party. We've put on amazing parties throughout the years. Like I said, all of the music, the venues, everything intertwines all the time for our parties, and we're blessed. We get that electric energy. That party at the Ministry of Sound, I don't know where everyone got their energy from, right? I'm not talking about dance energy, the spiritual energy that was in that place, and everyone was coming. I can't believe what's happening so much, and it was so beautiful. It was amazing, and everyone who bought a ticket contributed to the cause. That, you know, to get Stevie home. We're not going to get Stevie home straight away, right? You're moving in. It's going to be a slow process, the night visit and the weekend, just to make the transition nice and easy. But our mother has been sick for the last year, not like life-threatening sick, just with like some COPD, lungs here and there. But she's been good, and she was taken into hospital the week before. I'd say the Sunday before the 3rd of October, and on the Wednesday, she called and said that to tell the nurse that she wants to see. She said she wants to see me and my sister Josephine, our younger sister Josie. And then went to see her, and then she was saying, "I'm not going to be here on Sunday." So what are you talking about, Mum? She was in the chair. And the doctor was saying, "No, she's okay. She's fine." I'm not going to be here on Sunday. So what do you mean? She goes, "I had a dream that I watched myself die, and the boat was taking me to heaven." Right. So then on the Thursday, my brother John was visiting, and he phoned me on Facebook because, "Bob, I'm with Mum, because only one visitor, one family member a day. I'm with Mum. She's having this dream again." But my mum used to get, because of her oxygenation levels, used to go. My mum used to get a bit confused and have dreams and talk about it. So I'm just like, that's what was going on. I said, "Bob, she said that she told you this yesterday." I said, "What is it?" I said, "Mum, what is it?" She goes, "I've had the dream again. I'm not going to be here on Sunday." I said, "What?" And John said, she had a dream again. She watched herself die, and she on the boat, and the boat took her to heaven. Fast forward now to Saturday. I'm with Stevie at the hospital, get a phone call from the hospital. "When your mum wants to see all of her children, said she's not going to be here tomorrow." I said, "Oh, I'll be down after." We all went down there separate times. And then my mum's saying the same thing. My mum's in the chair, sitting in the chair. And I said to the doctor, "What's going on?" "No, your mum will be home 5 to 7 days. She's fine. She's turned up the corner. She's doing really well." She said, "I'm not. I'm going." Right? Sunday morning, wake up, getting ready to go to dance for Stevie. 10:30, the phone rings, hospital. "Bobby, you need to come down. Your mum's taking turn for us. Doctors want to see you now, all of you." That was it. Get there, and they said there's nothing they can do. She had a massive internal bleed. It was a big red mark at the side. And they said my mum was semi-conscious in the bed, and she's had massive internal bleeding. They can't move her. They can't do nothing for her. So we're all there, all of us. I mean, it was as sad as it was beautiful, because my mum got to be surrounded by all of her children. I had Stevie on the phone. I called the hospital. Steve was on FaceTime. Right? I'm telling Steve what's happening. All of us are there. My wife, all of her grandchildren. She's surrounded 35, 40 of us all around the bed. Do you know what I mean? And she's opening her eyes now and again. And they said there's nothing they can do for her. So that was that. That was that. I had to go to the club. So I said goodbyes to Mum and everything else. I said, "Mum, do you know what? We know we've got this party," because she knows about the party for Stevie. She was talking about it all the time. I said, "I've got this party for Stevie, Mum. We got to go." I said, "You go. Go. You've worked for this all your life. You go, Mum. Go and meet the Lord. Go and meet," because our dad died a year before that, right? Go and meet Dad. Go and meet your family. Go. So I said goodbye to her. She was still here then. And then that was it. Got to the club at 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. We got the phone call from my nephew saying that Mum had gone. So now we're in the party in the fucking club. All this beautiful energy around us. Because all I said in the morning when I got the phone call was, "God, please do not let this happen today. Not today. Not today. Please don't let it happen today." But it's only afterwards, on reflection, I think it's fine, because my mum and everyone wanted us. She knew she was going. The doctors didn't know. She knew. You know what I mean? "No, she'd be all right." My mum said, "No, I'm going." So there is a greater power and a greater love, right? There is. My mum was saying she's going. They're saying, no, you're not going, you're fine. No, I'm going. We're taking comfort in all of that because we all have to go, right? My mum's had a good innings. She's taught us all well. We're blessed that none of her children had gone before her. You have to look at all these positives and take these all into account. Do you know what I mean? People are losing children left, right, and centre. So we're blessed for all that. And I know that we was meant to be surrounded in the ministry with all these people and everything else there. And it was a great, even when I announced it on the microphone, it was a powerful thing. It was beautiful.
How did you announce it?
Well, before, I had to speak about Stevie, because when I finished playing my 2 records, I only played a couple of records, I was going to speak about Stevie, thanking everyone. So I just said, I've got some news to tell you guys. I said, today, our mum passed. I said, she, we was all around her, and that was it. But the love that was coming back, then we had a picture of mum up on the screen as well. So it was a lot. When you look at it on paper, you think, what? And even the morning, I said, don't let this happen, don't let this happen. But it's okay. The next day, I was pretty strong. We went round to the green with the ministry, we had a little cry and all that. Then we went out. So like, right, we've got to fix up. It wasn't about that, because I've been very positive throughout this journey anyway. But having that put on top of it, it was okay for that moment. But then the next day, when I woke up on the Monday morning now, that was it, man. It was like...
Hit like a ton of bricks.
It just took over me for an hour, man. It's just like... and I tell my story because it's not a shame thing. It's nothing. It is what it is. I lost control, screaming, crying for an hour uncontrollably. But after that, I got on the plane. We was going to Ibiza, me and the wife, because we was going to go anyway, because of after the party, just to relax. And that happened. And I said, I've got to go. And up to this day now, I haven't dropped another tear for my mum, because it all left me. And I said, thank you for all that coming out of me now, rather in drips. And every time I speak about my mom, even now, I smile. Yeah. I'm happy. I'm happy for her.
It's an incredible ability to be able to do that, because so many people, as you say, we're all getting to that age now where we're losing friends and family on a regular basis, and not everybody has the ability to be so positive in their loss. And anyone listening to this is cannot help but be just overwhelmed with the strength that you showed,
Yeah, Andy, I'm going to say this, that I've always been a very positive guy, but not on the level that I thought I need to be in. I've always been that, but when I talk about the white room when I was in my coma, it's that white room that I was in that has prepared me for what was to come. I know that, and I know that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I know that. I was in this white room, I was sitting on a chair, I was aware, fully aware that I was sick and I was in hospital. And I knew I couldn't get out of the chair. And then this voice in my ear, there was these squares on the floor, like disco squares, but everything was white. It was white squares. This woman's voice just said, Robert, my real name is Robert, right? Robert, it's 12 o'clock. By 1 o'clock now, you have to get into that middle square. You have to get into that middle square or it's not going to be good. And then a man's voice started saying in this ear. There was no dialogue. I didn't look at them. I didn't need to look at them. That was the voice, the man and the woman. I kept repeating it. And then she said, right, it's 12 o'clock. We're going. 1 o'clock, you have to be in that square. And I was so, that went. I didn't look at them to see if they went. I'm in the spirit world, man. That's where I was. And that went. And then I'm sitting there thinking, I can't get out of this chair. I wasn't scared to die. It wasn't even about death. It was like, what is it? I was fearful because I knew I was sick and I knew I couldn't get out of the chair. Even though I was in a coma, I was aware of all this. So I'm speaking to my dad. I'm saying, Dad, you've got to help me. I'm aware my dad's passed. I'm saying, Dad, you've got to help me. I can't do this no more. I don't know why I came to the hospital. I love my wife. I love my kids. I know my dad's gone. I'm saying, take me with you, Dad. I can't do this. Please let me come with you. Take me with you. This is what happened to me. So when I came out of the coma, when I was fully alert in my ICU room, they took me out of my bed after the second day and they said, we're going to put you in the chair. And I have to tell you this because this is all pointed to what I'm talking about, my positivity, right? They put me in the chair, 2 of the guys, and as soon as I hit that chair, I just had this feeling of love I've never felt before, right? It was just so over. I'm like this in the chair, going, oh my God, what's happening to me? I'm crying, I'm smiling, because of the beauty of what I'm feeling. And I'm looking around and doctor's going to me, what's the matter? You okay? And I'm going, yeah, I'm good. I had this fucking powerful moment, right? Of me just saying to myself, well, if it was about love, I've got to love more. And I thought I knew about love because I've been with my wife for 40 years. But you can't, I know now that doesn't measure love. What happened to me in that chair, whether it is related to the chair in the white room and me being back in the chair when I was back on earth, in this world, that feeling I'll never ever forget. And it just lifted me to a higher realm. And just, I thought, what the fuck? I've just calmed myself down in real life. I've just not getting smashed, not doing things I shouldn't be doing anymore, not doing any substances, nothing. I don't need it. I'm just up there. And this is all before Steve went in hospital. So when this happened to Steve, when I got my powerful moment, I just thought, look at that. That was meant to happen to me to
give you the
up,
strength to be able to deal with that.
And I've spoken to spiritual healers, and without me telling them, that's what they've said to me. And I said, I've diagnosed that myself because I'm a deep person like that. That's what happened to me. And that's why I know things are going to be okay. And when, like, my mum passing, of course I'm not going to see my mum again, not in this world. But it's okay, man, because my mum got blessed to know she was going. She was surrounded by all the family. Have to look at beautiful, positive things in life, as deep and as dark as it can be. Do you know what I mean? And that's just where I am. And I've been lifted. I'm not to the top, and I didn't know there was a greater love. I thought I was Mr. Lover Man because I've been. Do you understand? My boys would tell me, "How you been rich so long? What's the secret?" Well, guess what? I thought I was at the top. I'm not even at the top now. But there is a great. When people say greater love, and do you know what? And it's true, man. And that's it. That's why you hear me keep talking about love now, the power of love, this and that, because that's what I'm here to do. I'll talk about music all day long. I'm also going to talk about the power of love and how important it is, because it's done this for me. People are telling me, I don't know where you're getting your inspiration, Bob. You're lifting me up. Well, guess what? I've been lifted, and I'm fucking bringing everyone up with me.
So you found a new purpose. Would you say you found a new purpose now?
1,000,000%, because my purpose is to. I'm still going to go. I'm still doing the music and everything else. But I know that my purpose is I didn't go into this spirit room, into this white room with these voices who I know are my spirit guides for no reason. I'm not pushing that aside. I can't push that aside, you know. But even with Dance for Stevie, when we've raised enough money for Dance for Stevie, we're keeping it going, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to do Laugh for Stevie, a comedy thing in March. We're going to do other events of that and help other people, because we enjoyed it doing it so much. And just the beauty of helping others as well, right? It's continuing. Dr. Stevie's getting registered to charity, and that's what we're doing. We're doing
I'm chuckling because I didn't realise. I did start off by saying at the beginning, this isn't about me. This is about so many other people that you've inspired down the years. I draw so many references to what you're saying now, the things that you clearly not experiencing any near to what you've experienced recently, but circumstances that have happened in my life have given me the same kind of feelings that you've had. So I completely relate to what you're saying. That's why I'm chuckling. And I bring a lot of the things that I've been able to achieve from the foundations that you laid for myself, and you've laid for many others as well, and that's only going to continue even more now with this new purpose. So continue to tell us more then about other ideas.
That's what we're going to do, because we know people in the comedy world live for you, so we're going to use what we can to put on events, you know. And you know, the Laugh for Stevie thing, we're going to do a comedy night for 300 people kind of thing. And then we've got people who've reached out to us who used to come to Garage City back in the day. This lovely young lady who does yoga online, and she makes money from everything else, and she wants to do a yoga for Steve thing with all of our music just playing. And there's loads of different spin-offs, but it's gonna be to help other people. What caliber of people, what, you know, disability, yet we don't know, but that's what we're gonna do. Do you know what I mean? That's what I've come up with, and that's what we're gonna roll with, because it is just a purpose. There's more to life. Me and Steve have been givers all our life. Yeah, we're givers, man. It's not like we don't want that. If people give me something, I'll take it, yes. But it's not like, what, I'm giving you that, what you're giving me. If we're doing a hustle, of course it's like that. But generally, we're not like that. And I think we've just been blessed by the universe to have that and keep doing that. So I know what you give is what you get back. And we're testament to that now, to what people have given back to us for the ministry thing and everything else. And it is real. Just be good people. We're all going to have our downside. We're all going to do things we're not going to do. We're just human. But at the end of the day, there's nothing better than having a beautiful heart, okay? And just loving. Love as much as you do. You can, man. And just keep doing it and just watch things come. Things will come. You know, I'm so at peace with myself. Because of that white room experience.
It shines through.
I'm
It shines
so
through.
at peace with myself. I've got no fear for nothing, right? I didn't have a lot of fear for stuff anyway. I've always been okay with death, but now I'm seeing it in a completely comfortable, peaceful way, a beautiful way. Do you know what I mean? Especially when everything just sits. There is no right way or wrong way to lose someone. People losing people all the time, but we've been blessed with things. And I know, you know, yeah, what about Stevie? Stevie's in this condition now. Yeah, he's in this condition now. But he's going to snap out of this. On what level, I don't know. But it ain't over. It ain't over.
And your story is far from over. You've been in the media spotlight quite a bit over the last 18 months or so with a lot of the coverage that you've received. That's definitely going to help with your new passion and with your new purpose as well, because there's so many people who are aware of you and you'll be able to reach out to as well. Have you, before all of this, had it ever crossed your mind about a book or a movie of some description?
Well, there you go.
I mean, a movie's another level, I know, but a book for
No,
sure.
but let me tell you something now. Steve's the ideas man, and Julie's watching this. If Julie had a mic, she'll tell you. Stevie's the ideas man, yeah? Every day, this, I was like, calm down. The book thing's been in his head for 10 years. The year 2019, he's talking about as the last time. We need to get his book, Bob. We need to get the book started. He started doing inquiries and everything else and getting the book together. All these things have been in Steve's head from like the last one from 2019. And it's happening. I'm speaking to someone next week. I'm starting the book, okay? Because it just spurred me on even more. And I'm doing it all, I'm fulfilling what Steve wanted to do, right? I'm getting things ready. When Steve comes out, he can communicate more. We know Steve can hear. Like today when I'm talking to him, I'm just telling him everything what's going on, like normal conversation, bruv. You know what I mean?
That's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to give you that message.
Yeah,
you know it's there.
I told Andy, I'm with Steve there, and he said, "You sent me a lovely message." Like, and I didn't ask you to do it. He said, "Hey, Steve," and I played it to Steve. But that's how we communicate with Steve. We communicate with Steve the same way I'm communicating with you now, and that's why Steve was at my mum's funeral, right? We didn't tell people Steve was coming to mum's funeral. There was like 400 people, 450 people mum's in the church, right? And we didn't, because it's like what Julie said to me. Julie said, "Bob, we know Steve can hear. We believe that, right?" I said, "Yeah." So you've told Steve knows mum's gone then because you had him on video. He's not a secret. We speak to him about mum when we're there. So he said, "Well, he should have the right to be there." And Steve was at the funeral. We're not hiding Steve. We're not ashamed of Steve. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Hell no. Do you understand? And at the beginning, we were very protected about Steve because we didn't know which angle we're going to come with and everything else. So he wasn't putting pictures up or nothing. And then, you know, Judy got really comfortable with it, you know. No, we're ready now. And that's it. And Steve is going to be the superstar he's going to be because we just believe the universe has got something in store for him, man. You know, the story's not over, brother. The story is not over. Do you know what I mean? And the book is going to come. The book is coming. And, you know, there's millions of more stories. You know what I mean? I've got to do some research because Steve, where I won't forget a disco record, the year, the producer, the label. Steve doesn't forget the year, the club, the promoter, every single thing. He's on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I need to get information out of him anyway. So universe.
Are you listening? Come on, it's time. Well, Sonia's been commenting throughout, and forgive me for not saying hi to Sonia earlier on, saying staying positive for Steve and sending love and strength to Bobby and Julie. I think one of your brothers was here as well earlier, so again, forgive me for not shouting. I was worried of interrupting too much, listening to the story. What an incredible story. 2 hours and 15 minutes we've been speaking, my friend. People are just blown away from listening to this. I don't really know what more I can say to you. How would you like to end our conversation this evening?
I would like to end that conversation by saying thank you to you. All right, because Andy reached out to me maybe 9 months ago, whatever it was, I'm not sure, to say, Bob, I'm doing this thing. I do this show, and we've had some of the people on there used to play at Garage City, and everything goes back to Garage City. So it'd be good if you can come. And I said, I'm not ready for all that yet. I'm sorry. And then Colin Williams last week, love you so much, Colin. You don't even know, brother. He said, Bob, I think you should do Andy's show. And I didn't talk to him about that. He didn't know nothing about our conversation or whatever. He said, I don't know if you did. He said, I think you should do it. It'd be good for getting the GoFundMe page going. And I said, I'm supposed to be doing this show anyway. So I thank you, because this was all meant to happen. And, we go back a long way. So I'm thankful. Me, Steve, and all the family are thankful for this opportunity. All right, because it's just so important. Thank you for this. Thank you for the time. Thank you for everyone out there listening who has given us love, not just through this pandemic, from since 1984, because our journey is a life journey, and our journey as so many people coming along with us. It's not just me and Steve, it's everyone that's following with us. Yeah, it's important. You can get so deep into it. Thank you, because we've all created this. Okay, the album you've got behind you, I love looking at it. You see album.
Yeah, they can't actually see that. They can't see that because it's cut off.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh,
so
the angle.
I stuck that on the shelves behind me, and it's been framed in the background ever since.
And it's in great condition as well.
It's in,
but all this,
of course, it is.
all of our journey. People might say, "Oh, can't do it without the crowd." It's not. Our people are not a crowd. We don't look at our people as a crowd. Our people are our family. And we've been using that term from fucking day one. Because the people from Forest Gate grew up with us in Forest Gate. They didn't just come out of the house and think, oh, there's a bit of noise. Let's see what's happening there. They're our family. And me and Steve come from a loving family built with love. The foundation is built with love. And that's how it's been. Our roots are from that level, and we're just bringing it up now. And that's all we're doing. So we thank every single person who's been on our journey with us. And that's it. Thanks to Norman J for being so instrumental with me and Steve. That New York, everything happens in life. Your whole life is planned out, right? That New York trip, if Norman didn't take us, we wouldn't have been doing the Soulful House to a level we're doing now. Paul Anderson, going to see Paul back in the day in Tottenham when we was doing the house parties. So many people, man. There's so many people who've been instrumental. So we thank every single person who have touched us. It's not about us just touching people. People have touched us for us to touch other people. So just thankful for that, man. And thank you to everyone, to the Lord, to our mum, to our dad. Rest in peace. That's it. Thank you to my beautiful wife as well. And thank you to Julie for being a fucking soldier.
Indeed.
I don't even know.
Words fail me. Usually at this point, I would say goodbye to you. I would go to an outro screen. I would talk about everything else that I'm doing. But that all seems highly irrelevant right about now. I'm just going to say to you, my friend, how much I absolutely am blown away by your strength, your resilience. And as I've told you many times down the years, how much I am in your debt forever and owe you so much. And I'm sure I echo the sentiments of hundreds, if not thousands, around the world.
All we ask for is love, man. That's all we ask for.
There you go. And you've got that in abundance. I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you. I'm going to end the stream here. I don't, because it's all quite gimmicky at the end of the show, and I don't want to go down that route. So thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you.
One love. Thank you, everybody. We are out of here.